At Barclays, we're here for every goal. We're here for the Premier League and the Barclays Women's Super League. We're here for the football chants and for giving more girls a chance. We're here for the grassroots and all the muddy boots. From schools to stadiums, we're here for it all. Barclays, here for every goal.
Meet Sage Copilot, your new AI productivity assistant that automates tasks to keep your business running smoothly.
Copilot, help me pay my suppliers this week.
So, if you're a barber like Alfie, it could mean spending more time on what really matters, like more back and sides for his customers.
Oh, perfect. Cheers, Alfie.
Small businesses could save 4 days a month on financial admin. Search Sage Copilot to get early access today. Sage, helping business flow.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Book a test drive for the Volvo EX30 today. Head online for details.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a huge weekend of league action across Scotland. Celtic look to keep up their winning run ahead of a trip to Dortmund when they go to St Johnstone later. Before all that, it's been a disrupted week off the pitch for St Mirren. They head to Motherwell. Managerless Hearts host Ross County. It's Dundee, Aberdeen and Kilmarnock taking on Dundee United. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me this afternoon you have Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Well, Rangers brought prestige to the game with their European display against Malmo, but now it's the domestic demands that have to be taken care of. Celtic and Aberdeen could both go 8 points away from Philippe Clement's side, who are not in action until tomorrow against Hibs. Aberdeen have to beat Dundee at Dens. Celtic have to go to managerless St Johnstone at 5:45, and it really will be crisis time at Hearts if the team bottom of the league, managerless and with only 1 point to show for their efforts so far, fail to beat Ross County at Tynecastle. As for Kilmarnock, Dundee United and Motherwell St Mirren, anybody's guess, Mark Wilson?
Well, I like the look at a lot of fixtures across the country today, but especially in the Premiership. You look at that Aberdeen fixture away to Dundee, a chance for Aberdeen to go top. Now, I know it's only 6 games into the season, but would Aberdeen fans have thought that when were getting a new manager? I don't think so. It's been an incredible start for them, but that is a test for Jimmy Thielen's side. And then for Hearts, can they get their season up and running? Stephen Naismith away, Liam Fox taking over today. Big changes to the team. That'll be an interesting one. And my old side, Dundee United, down at Kilmarnock, can they bounce back? It's been a disappointing couple of weeks. Derek McInnes looking for a win and to kickstart his season at Rugby Park.
Yeah, I agree with Mark. I think every game here's got a meaning, Gordon. Even if you look at Motherwell St Mirren, a great opportunity for a to leapfrog St Mirren. Kilmarnock Dundee, Kilmarnock need a result, Hearts need a result. Dundee Aberdeen could be an absolute cracker. I'm looking forward to this afternoon's football.
This period, and it's a short period, Hugh, between now and the next international break, as short as it is, looks massive, because I know Celtic and Rangers have previously got their European campaigns up and running, but they go again next week straight off the back of these league games. Hearts join in, and then for Hearts they need to fill their managerial vacancy, and so do St Johnstone. So it feels like between now and that international break, a lot of important things can happen.
Well, Aberdeen have given Peter Leven permission to speak to St Johnstone, and that may very well happen in short order. Hearts, all the more complicated. They are into the business of analytics, algorithms and databases. Gordon, you and I know nothing at all about this.
Yeah, I couldn't even spell them, Hugh, so I'm quite happy you read them out. But it's big time for Hearts. They've got to get off the bottom of the table. They're a massive club. They've got a terrific squad. They've added to their squad well in the summer. It just didn't happen for Stephen Naismith. But it doesn't matter. There'll be a full house there today. They've got to get 3
But
points.
I think midweek, Gordon, brought Rangers back into the forefront of the conversation again, where the domestic prizes are concerned. Philippe Clement said that they would be better by October. He's on schedule for that. He has to take care of Hibs on Sunday, and then the following Sunday there is the game against St Johnstone, which kicks off as I'll be going to bed, 8 p.m. at Ibrox. Celtic at Perth today, no time at all. They have to scramble and get over to Germany, play Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, back to go away from home against Ross County. It's warming up, and I'm keeping one eye on Jimmy Thielen, undefeated all season long. If he goes again today and beats Dundee, then the coming weeks will be very interesting for him, because he's played every day except Celtic and Rangers, and that will come up in October and early November, League and Cup. It's building up.
And days like today, Mark Wilson, really test that theory, that rubbish, boring cliche about taking one game at a time. Because if you're a Celtic fan, I think you're definitely thinking about Dortmund, and then the challenge is, I guess, for the players and Brendan Rodgers not to.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I wonder how much the manager is thinking about Dortmund, and that'll be, evident in his team selection. There's one or two that might miss the game and hoping of making Dortmund. And it's not a given. St Johnstone managerless also. It's going to be a tough game. Brendan Rodgers knows that. He knows the stadium, so they have to get it right tonight when it kicks off at 5:45.
That's to come later. Plenty of big games at 3 o'clock. A really, really attractive card this afternoon. Let's start in Lanarkshire. Motherwell against St Mirren. Andrew McLean is there.
Yeah, I like the look of this fixture. Motherwell's first game back after that huge victory here just over a week ago into the semi-finals of the Premier Sports Cup. Felt like a real high point, didn't it, for Stuart Kettlewell and his team, who have had a real solid start to the season. You could just sense around the stadium what it meant to all these Motherwell fans. The challenge now is to build on that, keep themselves in the top 6 where they find themselves at the moment, and make sure that they have some good form going into that game at Hampden. They'd leapfrog St Mirren as well with a win today, but the Buddies will be looking to pull away from the host. I was speaking to both managers this week. They both stressed just how tight the games have been between these sides recently, and you just look at everything really, barely anything separating the teams in the matches last season. Only 1 point separating them in the league table at the moment. Stephen Robinson talking about the fact that the two teams shop in the same market. They're often looking for the same players, play similar styles of football as well, so it'll be interesting to see this match up today. St Mirren can be happy with their start to the season as well. Of course, had some European football in there, but an obvious disruption in the build up to this game as well. Sean Rooney suspended by the club pending an investigation after he was charged with the assault of a young woman in Glasgow city centre earlier this month, so of course he will play no part in this fixture today. Looking at the team news, just the one change for Motherwell from that win against Dundee United last Friday. Maswanise drops out of the starting lineup, and it's Moses Ibiye that comes in. So Aston Oxborough remains in goal. The back three, Paul McGinn, Liam Gordon and Dan Casey. The wing back, Stephen O'Donnell and Ewan Wilson, with Davor Dravkovsky, Lennon Miller and Andy Halliday. The midfield three, Moses Ibiye partnering Zach Robinson. Up top, the substitutes: Heggie, Seddon, Balmer, Sparrow, Stamatolopoulos, Caleta, Watt, Maswanise and Jair Tavares. Two changes for the visitors coming into this one. Rooney and Brown drop out, Womono and Tanzer come in. Both changes coming at wing back. So Ellery Balcom is in goal. The back three, Marcus Fraser, Alex Gogic and Richard Taylor. Elvis Womono is the right wing back. Scott Tanzer the left wing back. The midfield three, Mark O'Hara, Caelan Boyd-Muntz and Killian Phillips. The front two, Miko Mandron and Toyosi Olasanya, who's in hot form. He's got 3 goals in his last 3 games. The substitutes are Minsky, Ayunga, Smith, Kilty, Idowu, Scott, Dunn, Brown and Van Veen. The referee for this one is Lloyd Wilson, and the VAR, Greg Aitken.
Yeah, good game this one. Gordon Dalziel, obviously, as Andrew quite rightly points out, a feel-good factor around Motherwell having made it to those League Cup semi-finals where they will take on Rangers. And it just feels like every game, as the weeks tick by, you go into every game almost more and more people keeping an eye on Lennon Miller and seeing what he can come up with. And I suppose that's now the challenge for him, to handle that increased expectation every week.
Yeah, and it won't be a surprise to me if he does handle it every week, because I think he's got the right attitude. I think he's got the right abilities, Gordon. I'm delighted that he's going to get a lot of game time at Motherwell. I think it's the right choice for him to stay there, because a lot of people have been wondering his situation here. Of that, there's no doubt. I think Andrew's got an absolute cracker there today. I think it'll be a good crowd. Great opportunity for Motherwell to leapfrog, not maybe just St Mirren, Dundee United as well. They've got a difficult one down at Rugby Park. I think that'll be a terrific game.
Mark, if you look at St Mirren's team and listening to Andrew McLean read it out, yes, there are enforced changes in the form of Sean Rooney, which clearly is a topic too delicate for us to speculate about right now, but he's out the team. But it still just feels like a really strong squad that Stephen Robinson's got, and you just wonder if a lot of the early season stuff did come down to the fact they were trying to juggle European football. Now they don't have that. You take a look at the top goal scoring charts. Tayosi Olusanya. Scott Allen was in last night, sent out to Arbroath on loan last season, didn't really make an impact. He's got 4 in the Premiership already. Olusanya 6 in all competitions. He's been a real handful.
Yeah, he certainly has. A breath of fresh air coming back to the club. It's incredibly hard to do that, go out on loan, because naturally I think as a footballer you think your time at the club is over and the exit door's there for you in the summer. But he's obviously came back, worked hard, and to be fair to Stephen Robinson, he's put him in his side and backed him, and he's repaid his manager. But you're right about the whole team. Stephen Robinson's very good at amassing a squad, covering every position, and for years now, or a couple of seasons anyway, everybody seems to know their role within his side. They're good to watch, got a good result last week. I wonder if they can build it this week.
Yeah, well, the incentive is there for both clubs to go up that league table, out with the top 3. They're all much of a muchness for me, but either side could win at Fir Park, but the incentive is there, up the league table and kickstart your season.
Yeah, Stephen Robinson back at his old stomping ground as well. So a fascinating tie, that one. Equally, Kilmarnock against Dundee United. Roger Hannah's there.
Well, it is fascinating, Gordon. It's big for Kelly. Just 1 win in 12 games at the start of the season, and that wasn't even in this country. It was away against Tromsø in Norway. They've got only 2 points in the Premiership. Only managerless Hearts are below them this season. They've had 3 red cards in their 5 league games, including 2 for Joe Wright, who is banned today. I mean, you throw in the fact there was only 1 win in their last 5 at the end of last season. It's been a difficult run for Derek McInnes. He makes 2 changes today. Lewis Mayo, who was suspended, is now back and takes over from the banned Wright. And Brad Lyons, who of course was sent off at Pittodrie, he's back and gets into the midfield ahead of young David Watson. So Kieran O'Hara keeps his place in goals. A back 4: Jack Burrows, Lewis Mayo, Stuart Finlay and Corey Ndaba. Across the middle, Danny Armstrong, Brad Lyons, Liam Polworth and Matty Kennedy. And up top, the skipper, Kyle Vassell, is partnered again by Marley Watkins. On the bench, McCrory, Dees and McKenzie, Watson, Murray and Anderson, Donnelly, Wales and Bainbridge. Now United, they were unbeaten in 8 before losing to Rangers at Tannadice and crashing out of the Premier Sports Cup at Motherwell 8 days ago. But yet they could go third at least for 24 hours with a win today. The problem they have for Jim Goodwin, they haven't won here in the league for over 8 years, since a 4-2 success way back in May 2016. Maybe that need for goals has inspired these team changes today. 2 changes as well, and it's the front 2. Jort van der Sande goes down to the bench. Christian Trapanovsky, we believe, has a knock and misses out completely, which means starts for Louis Moult after a spectacular goal back at Fir Park 8 days ago, and a first start for Sam Dalby, a striker on loan from Wrexham. So it's Jack Walton in goal. The back 3: Emmanuel Adegboyega, Declan Gallagher and Ross Graham. Across the middle, Lucas Stevenson, Craig Sibbald, the skipper Ross Docherty and Will Ferry, and then David Babunski is in the number 10 role behind Moult and Dalby. On the bench, Richards, Holt and Savell, O'Dada, Middleton and Fotheringham, Van der Sande, Thompson and Ubo Chioma. The referee is Craig Napier, and the VAR at Rugby Park, Grant Irvin.
I'm sure Derek McInnes won't have much to worry about when it comes to VAR. They're always nowhere near the headlines when it comes to the technology. I'm sure he'll have a nice quiet afternoon in store. Just looking at things at the moment for Kilmarnock, Roger, and being in 11th place with only 2 points, you never know if there's such a thing as a false position, but you do wonder if Derek McInnes still, well, he certainly sounds like he is still pretty calm about it, because again they had the same European distractions as St Mirren, and then just when they go and try and shake them off, they keep getting players sent off. You know, there's not been loads wrong with the performances. There's no real bad results in there, apart from that St Johnstone one goes down as a properly bad result, but again sandwiched in between Europe and down to 10 men after 16 minutes.
Yeah, and I think there have been mitigating circumstances, as you say. All of these red cards, particularly the ridiculous one for Joe Wright in that game at St Mirren. I think Derek will tell you Kilmarnock were probably the better team, even with 10 men at Paisley when they last played a couple of weeks ago. He is using those red cards not as an excuse but as a mitigating factor for the results. He's confident in the squad. He's got Lewis Mayo back, he's got Brad Lyons back. I'm still fascinated that Robbie McCrory, who's now fit, can't get into the team. Kieran O'Hara keeps the gloves there. But if you look at that front four, Danny Armstrong, Kyle Vassell, Marley Watkins, Matty Kennedy, they're all quality players, and I think Derek O'Feely can get 3 points this afternoon.
And although it was a good start to the season for Dundee United, was the attacking lineup on borrowed time? You look at Van der Sande, and he did link up the play really well. It started to look though like he would never really become a goal threat. Louis Moult comes on and scores that eye-catching goal that you mentioned. Did it feel like over the last few weeks that was a matter of time before those changes were made?
Yeah, I've seen a bit of United this season, Gordon, and Van der Sande, he didn't look as if he was going to score a goal, and Jim Goodwin, he's given him as much leeway as he can. Jim Goodwin's brought him in there in the summer to lead the line. There's only so long you can keep a striker on the team if he's not scoring and not looking like scoring. Louis Moult took his goal terrifically well. You saw him at Fir Park a week past last night, and Sam Dalby has been champing at a bit to get a start as well. He probably wouldn't have got a start had Trapanovsky not been injured, but I'm looking forward to seeing how Moult and Dalby go, and David Babunski, a quality player, tucked in behind them.
Yeah, looking forward to that one immensely. Hearts against Ross County, managerless Hearts, of course. I think you're legally obliged to refer to them until such times as they fill that vacancy. Dale Eaton has the teams.
Yes, Gordon, it's set up to be an interesting match here in the capital as Liam Fox takes interim charge of Hearts for the first time. He does have previous Premiership managerial experience, managing Dundee United for 22 games. His time on Tayside, though, came to an end after a 4-0 defeat to today's opponents Ross County in February last year. He's in charge of the Jambos after Stephen Naismith was sacked following last weekend's 2-1 defeat to St Mirren as Hearts continue their miserable start to the season. They sit bottom of the league with 1 point from their first 6 games and just 3 goals in that time. Liam Fox will be looking to galvanise what he insists is a very good squad. Yesterday he said he wasn't looking to reinvent the wheel, only making little tweaks here and there, and he's made 5 changes today, with Kent, Devlin, Rubbles, Forrest and Forrester in for Taylor, Halkett, Spittle, Penrice and Boateng. One of those is enforced after Gerald Taylor picked up a knee injury that looks set to keep him on the sidelines for a few months. They line up as follows: Craig Gordon is in goals, a back 4 of Adam Forrester, Frankie Kent, Kai Rolls and Stephen Kingsley. Benny Birmingham, Cammy Devlin, George Grant and Alan Forrest. Kenneth Vargas are in midfield and Lawrence Shankland is up front. On the bench it's Clark, Boyce, Danda, Halkett, Mackay, Oyegoke, Penrice, Spittle and Tate. As for Ross County, it's a second match in a row facing managerless opposition after they left it very late to snatch a point from St Johnstone in last weekend's 3-3 draw. It's been a solid start to the season though from the Staggies with 6 points from 6 games. Jordan White and Ronan Hale have been supplying the goals with 11 between them in all competitions. There's one change from last weekend's Dingwall draw as Affetti comes in for James Brown. They go with Ross Laidlaw in goals, a back 3 of Ryan Leake, Akil Wright and Casper Lapata. Eli Campbell, Connor Randall, Joshua Nisbet, Noah Shilvers and Miki Affetti are in midfield. Ronan Hale and Jordan White are up front. And on the bench it's Hamilton, Brown, Latoure, Greaves, Telfer, Samuel, Brophy, Smith and Nightingale. Ian Snedden is the referee and Stephen Kirkland is on VAR.
A couple of interesting things that jump out from that team, Mark Wilson, and I think if you look at it, none of the new signings for Hearts over the summer play. Don't get me wrong, Gerald Taylor's enforced, he's got a bad injury, so not necessarily a huge conclusion to be taken, but Liam Fox is trying to put his own stamp on things.
Well, it certainly is. I think that tells a story what Liam Fox has thought from afar. Maybe I don't know how much influence you have when Stephen Naismith's the manager, but they're all good players, the new signings. I think we all agreed in that. He amassed a good squad, but Liam Fox quite clearly thinks they've not been doing the job, and he's rung the changes this afternoon.
I thought it was a little bit unfair on him when Andrew McKinley, the CEO, came out straight away and said, listen, he's definitely not getting the job. It's a little bit harsh on Liam Fox, but he's his own man today, and it's a big day because Aberdeen are 14 points ahead of Hearts. If you get the wrong sequence of results, and Ross County win at Tynecastle and Aberdeen.
I think
win
it was
at
the right
Dundee.
thing to do, Hugh, and I'll tell you why. Because if Liam Fox gets a result against Ross County today, ringing the changes, all of a sudden that momentum grows. Now, we've seen this picture before. Gets a few wins, which Hearts are capable of doing. I think Hearts have got to look longer term. I don't think Liam Fox, he's already had a go at Dundee United. Lovely guy, good coach, but Liam Fox shouldn't be a next Hearts manager.
Well, Andrew McKinley also said they're going to, use analytics. I'd be amazed. Imagine you typed in your formula and then Liam Fox came out as the answer. I don't think that's going to happen. But
it's a big day for Liam because, as I say, I can't overestimate the importance of Hearts getting the win, because they cannot possibly contemplate a 17-point differential between themselves and Aberdeen, because at that point, I don't care who the new manager of Hearts is, he's not going to catch Aberdeen.
I did wonder if there was one other opportunity to make a statement or put a stamp on something in goal, because it's been one of the weird issues, even on the end of Stephen Naismith. Xander Clark was the number one. He got a bit of an injury and Craig Gordon came in and stayed in without being incredible. I don't think he came in and showed this irresistible form that meant Xander Clark couldn't come back in. It's a strange one, that.
Yeah, I thought Xander Clark was excellent when he came in, and I think he deserved to hold the number one jersey. But I think Stephen Naismith bowed to the experience of Craig Gordon. Craig Gordon has been a terrific goalkeeper and still can perform at a good level. But if I was involved with Hearts and picking the team, my goalkeeper would be Xander Clark, and I think he deserves to be the number one.
Where are we on that search for a manager there, Roger Hannah?
I don't think there's any rush. St John's looked as if they're in more of a rush. They can make an appointment at some stage next week. I think the Hearts are happy to take their time. I think they regard Liam Fox, who's done very well with the B team. I think they regard him as a sort of safe pair of hands, if you like, going in with Angus Beath and Lee Wallace to watch the team for today's game, for the trip to Azerbaijan to take on Dinamo Minsk on Thursday, and then for a big game at Pittodrie a week tomorrow. After that, it's the international break, and I think during that spell they will hope to unveil a manager. They are using the data. Andrew McKinley didn't mention Tony Bloom's Star Lizard data analysis system by name, but I think it would be foolish to think they weren't using that. They'll then get a short list of potentials and they will then appoint a manager from there. I think for us to try and speculate at the minute, it's needle in a haystack stuff, Gordon.
Let's go to Dundee against Aberdeen. I think some big team news coming out there with Dave Galloway.
Yeah, that's right, Gordon. But firstly, there's much sadness around Dens Park after news broke this morning of the death of Dundee fans' favourite Fabian Caballero at the age of just 46. He played back in the era when the likes of Claudio Caniggia, Fabrizio Ravanelli wore the dark blue shirt. And there will be a pre-match tribute paid to the South American forward with a minute's applause. As for today's game, a cracking contest is on the cards as high-flying Aberdeen come to town along with over 4,000 supporters who'll be hoping their team can make it 12 wins in a row, which would match Celtic's perfect start under Martin O'Neill 24 years ago. And the big news from the Dons camp is the return of Duke after he earlier went absent without leave. The Cape Verde forward is on the bench, which I'll come to in a couple of moments. But there will be good backing for the D's here as well, as the visitors, the sides, played some very impressive football this term. The results have stuttered a little bit of late, and they're without a victory in 4 matches in all competitions. They've been working in training this week, Dundee, on tightening up at the back, so it'll be interesting to see if they can keep the Dons at bay and impose themselves at the other end of the pitch as well. To the team news then, and Dundee make 3 changes coming in. John McCracken, Ethan Ingram and Clark Robertson for his first game since way back in July. He suffered an injury playing Arbroath in a League Cup group stage match, so good to see him making a return, ironically, against his former side. Out drop Trevor Carson, Jordan McGee and Oluwaseun Adewumi. So Dundee will start with John McCracken in goals. Across the back, Ethan Ingram, Billy Kumetio, Antonio Portales and Zayad Larkesh. At midfield, Sammy Braybrook, Mohamed Silla and Clark Robertson. Up top, Simon Murray, supported by Lyle Cameron and Scott Tiffany. The subs for the D's: Carson, Astley, Mulligan, Main Adewumi, Finlay Robertson, Palmer Holden, Fraser and Vetro. For Aberdeen then, a couple of changes for them. In comes skipper Graham Shinnie and Topi Keskinen. Out drop Ante Palaversa, who has been very impressive deputising for Shinnie, and also Papi Gay, he drops out as well. So Dimitar Mitov in goals for Aberdeen today. Across the back, Nicky Devlin, Slobodan Rubezic, Gavin Malloy and Jack McKenzie. Sitting midfielders Graham Shinnie and Sivert Heltner-Nielsen. And it's Topi Keskinen, Leighton Clarkson and Jamie McGrath behind the main striker Kevin Nisbet. Substitutes for the Reds: Doohan, Lopez, Duke to you and I, Bissauin, Palaversa, Sockler, Morris, Milne, McDonald and Ambrose. Your match referee here at Dens Park is Callum Scott, and on VAR it's Stephen McLean.
That's you up to date with team news. We'll take a look at the week's biggest talking points next. This is a paid advert from BetterHelp. The kids have gone back to school recently, but how about going back to school for yourself? As we get older, we sometimes lose that childlike curiosity, don't we? Are there things you've always wanted to learn but just never got round to it? Maybe learning a new language. I've been on that recently, a 200-day streak on Duolingo Spanish, I'll have you know. Maybe you want to become a keen gardener, pick up a musical instrument. I'd love to do that, but not got a musical bone in my body. Well, therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder, because your back to school era can come at any age. And that's where BetterHelp could benefit you. With almost 5,000 therapists in the UK already, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a variety of expertise. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/SSB today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/SSB.
At Barclays, we're here for every goal. We're here for the Premier League and the Barclays Women's Super League. We're here for the football chants and for giving more girls a chance. We're here for the grassroots and all the muddy boots. From schools to stadiums, we're here for it all. Barclays, here for every goal.
Absolute Radio presents The John Richardson Show.
With John Richardson.
Join me for the all-new John Richardson Show. Subscribe now and download the John Richardson Show podcast while it's fresh. Or you can listen live to Absolute Radio, where real music matters. Every Saturday morning from 8 until 11. If you're one of those lazy, sleep until lunchtime types, or you got other stuff to do, you can listen to the podcast instead. It's going to be exactly the same, but without the songs. So maybe real music doesn't matter after all.
John Richardson.
And The John Richardson Show. Subscribe to The John Richardson Show podcast now, or listen live on DAB or the free Rayo app.
When you drive the new all-electric Ford Explorer, you might just find yourself going further and further and further and further than you expected. With a range of up to 374 miles on a full charge, where will the Ford Explorer take you? Book a test drive today. Search Ford 48-hour test drive. Ford, bring on tomorrow. T's and C's apply. Range based on official test data and may vary in different driving conditions.
You are the voice of Scottish football. Call 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Big Saturday in the Scottish Premiership. We've given you team news ahead of the 3 o'clock games. A big game still to come at 5:45, and of course on to tomorrow at Ibrox as well. As is always the case, or often the case at this stage on a Saturday, we pause for breath and reflect on some of the biggest talking points of the week. And certainly only 2 days on, Roger Hannah, I think Rangers' performance and result in Europe would qualify for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this time last week we were praising Celtic for that 5-1 rout of Slovan Bratislava on match day 1 of the Champions League, and if Rangers had their shooting boots on, it could have been 5-0 or 5-1 for them in Malmo on Thursday night. It was a fantastic performance by Philippe Clement's men. I was really surprised. I mean, Malmo had been built up. They are flying high at the top of the Swedish league. Rangers, of course, had never beaten Malmo in all their meetings in the past, and from that opening 56 seconds when Nadim Bajrami scored after Cyril Dessers had hit the post, Rangers were in total control, and they should have been out of sight long before Ross McCausland wrapped in that second goal off the post.
Yeah, Hugh, I think there was I don't know if an element of surprise about it, if that's why everyone of Rangers persuasion so happy, but they've just maybe been a bit beaten down by the start to the season. So to go away and win like that in Europe just seemed to give everyone a lift.
On the day that Celtic beat Rangers 3-0, Rangers sunk to their lowest ebb. There were fans confronting Philippe Clement and James Tavernier outside Ibrox when the team bus arrived back from Celtic Park. The story then was that Celtic were over the hill and far away from Rangers. They had money, Rangers did not. And even Aberdeen were thrust in Rangers' faces because they were unbeaten and Rangers simply had a very poor start to the season. And now they've had the result that is out of the ordinary. It was a very good win against Dundee United, a solid win against Dundee in the league, and then this one, Malmo away, lifted Rangers. And Clement has always maintained that by October his new signings will have bedded in and the general look of the team will be far more positive, and he is on course. And a full house at Ibrox tomorrow. No people outside the ground confronting the manager, all inside the ground backing the manager.
I must admit, I thought they were excellent, like the rest of the lads, and I think Roger's right. If some of them had their shooting boots on, it could have been a lot more comfortable. But they got off to the best possible start, Gordon. That gave them so much confidence. Also, I think what will please the Rangers manager is a clean sheet. You've got to build success from a clean sheet. There's still a long way to go. It was a terrific result, confidence booster, brilliant. I thought the man that everybody talks about up front, Dessers, should have probably scored 2 or 3, but I thought he had his best game in a Rangers trip. I think his link-up play, his work rate, everything from the front was absolutely terrific, and it was a very positive result and a very good performance.
Yeah, it's been a real bright spot in their season. They've had a few good results. You think Ross County, and Hugh's right to mention Dundee United in Dundee, but that one certainly tops a lot. But it was a performance to match it. I think if you're a player in that Rangers dressing room after Thursday night, you take huge confidence from that. Going away in Europe is never easy to win at any level, no matter that competition. If it's the Champions League, the Europa League or the Conference League, we've seen it how hard it is, and top teams struggle in this competition away from home. But Rangers made it look easy. They were good defensively and they should have won by a bigger margin, and that can only give the team more confidence going into this weekend.
The feel good factor could rise in a serious way over the course of the next 8 days. Rangers have Hibs on Sunday, Lyon come to Ibrox, and Rangers are well capable of getting a decent result there in front of a full house. And then it's St Johnstone, so also at Ibrox, so it could be home comforts for Rangers over an 8-day period.
Suppose, Roger, it has to be that one step at a time approach for Rangers. I'm not sure everyone thought Rangers were not capable of that the other night, but it's about sort of finding it, I guess, now on that consistent basis. That's what Philippe Clement, I'm sure, is hoping for.
Very much so, Gordon. We've said it a couple of times. After that beating at Celtic Park, it was always going to be baby steps for Rangers to recover. They got a decent win at Tannadice with a poor performance. They raised it a level for that cup win against Dundee at Ibrox last Saturday night, and I think they raised it a lot in Sweden on Thursday night. It will convince them what they're capable of. I think the new signings, Bajrami looks an improvement in what was there before. Czerny, I know Hugh likes him, looks an improvement in what was there before. Casemiro, who was billed as a sort of right back or right sided centre back, I thought was terrific at left back in Sweden the other night. He looks as if he could have something to contribute as well. Connor Barron gets stronger and stronger too. I would expect him to be in Steve Clarke's squad again for the Nations League doubleheader when he announces that on Tuesday. And as Daz says, Dessers, if you think how Dessers was at this time 12 months ago, I mean, it looked a dreadful signing when Michael Beale brought him in. People were laughing at him 12 months ago. He now actually looks as if he can contribute as a Rangers centre forward.
Could he do with just a couple of simple, easy finishes that everybody expects him to score, Gordon? Just to put that side of it, put a lid on that side of it for a bit.
Let's not be kidding. When you're centre forward, you're selfish because it's all about scoring goals. Look, he'll be delighted with his performance. He'll be delighted that his team won 2-0. But deep down inside, as a centre forward, he'll be a bit disappointed when he goes round the goalkeeper. It's an easy angle. he really should put it in the back of the net. But the one thing I like about him just now is,
I suppose the issue is though the second one's maybe even worse.
Yeah, but he's, for me, as if I was looking at him as a coach, I think he's getting into great positions, Gordon. I think some of his touches are brilliant. His link-up play, which he gets heavily criticised for, was good. But I think he set the tone the other night there. I thought his work rate was brilliant. I really did. I thought he worked it from the front, worked really hard. You see the success of Celtic, it comes from that front three, how they close down, how they work, how they track back. Dessers was in that forum on Thursday night, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant. The only thing was missing was a goal.
I think it was a boost personally for Philippe Clement, Mark, because he's not been able to shake accusations either that tactically it hasn't looked brilliant, and what's the plan, what's the style, all that sort of stuff. But Malmo have got a very specific way of playing, and it looked like Rangers totally figured that out, and really, really countered it with a better game plan, so to speak.
Well, that was evident from watching it. And when you hear Philippe Clement after the game saying about their chaotic style and how Rangers knew what to expect and exploit it, it's impressive, because you're right, that has been the accusations, and I've been there myself. I said I struggle to see Rangers' style, how it's going forward, what they are, a counter-attacking team or they are possession. I struggled to see it. But on Thursday night I could clearly see the plan, and the players carried it out to perfection, almost. So yeah, Philippe Clement gets huge credit for that, because he's taken plenty of slaps for getting it wrong so many times. But it's about continuing that. He said it himself after the game Thursday. It's about getting better. He strives. He's a perfectionist, he says. He strives to get things better over the coming weeks. And Hugh's right. The fixtures, sit pretty nicely. If they get a decent result tomorrow, you look at the European game, and then after that, going into the international break, it's a whole different outlook.
Did you hear Conor Barron's interview after the game Thursday?
No, why?
He said that a couple of seasons ago at Brecon, Mark took him to one side and said, if you stick with me, kid, I'll have you in the Europa League in a couple of seasons
listen, I keep saying it, you've got to take a bit of credit somewhere along the line. I take a lot of credit for Celtic's right back. He's quite entitled to take credit for Rangers midfielder.
Absolutely shameless, Roger Hanna. Shameless as always.
It's unbelievable. Although what I will say is, in terms of predictions, I'm just looking at the top scorers for the Premiership this season, Gordon, and I think that's tipped Cyril Dessers. He's only 2 goals off his third in the list of top scorers. You think of Hugh Keevins' prediction that Stephen Naismith would be gone early in the season? He got that spot on. It's putting the pressure on Mark Wilson to get a big call right.
Hold on, who did Daz say for his player of the year again?
It doesn't matter, it's all about top goals.
Let's move on then.
In fairness, Diomande looked much better the other night. It looked like he was coming back to form.
I went just on the fact of he had a terrific game in pre-season. I jumped on the bandwagon. He'll need a lot of improvement. But my top goal scorer, I fancy Dessers to get more this season than he did last season.
Roger, we're still getting to grips with the new format. We think we know what it takes to go through, but we've never really seen it all play out before, and football's hard enough to predict anyway. But we'll give it a bash. How does Thursday set Rangers up for progression?
Oh, listen, I think if Rangers could get 3 points against Lyon on Thursday night, they would be more than halfway there towards progression. Celtic, they go to Dortmund obviously on Tuesday, and I think for once that's a free hit. Normally when you go to places like Dortmund, it's kind of home and away, or it's in a very tight group and you probably need to get something. I actually don't think there's much pressure in Brendan Rodgers to get something there, because you look at the fixtures, they've still got Dinamo Zagreb, they've still got Young Boys, they've still got Club Brugge at home, who Dortmund beat 3-0 in Belgium. So I think Celtic can go there in a quite relaxed mood, and Rangers, having got 3 points already in Sweden, I think they'll be reasonably relaxed, reasonably comfortable. I don't think a point would be a bad result at home to Lyon, but the way they showed up on Thursday and the way they've been showing up in Europe in recent seasons, they'll believe they can win the game.
Okay, let's park that for the moment, because we've got huge games coming up at 3 o'clock. We've already given you the team news, but we will go back around the grounds next.
Tackle the headlines. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. We've got the top team round the grounds, and it's about 15 minutes until kick-off in the 3 o'clock matches. Don't forget St Johnstone Celtic to come a bit later, so we'll do the full build up to that. Of course, at some point we'll turn attentions ahead to Rangers Hibs tomorrow as well. But in the meantime, we will keep the focus on the 3 o'clock games. You can tweet us all afternoon. Alan Baxter thinks if Mr. DL had been up front on Thursday night, it would have been 8-0 to Rangers. Good to see that afternoon drinking is a popular pastime again.
Done,
Thanks
Mr.
to Alan
Baxter
for getting in touch. Let's go back round them. As we said, Fir Park for Motherwell against St Mirren with Andrew McLean. Andrew, again, it's for people who are unaware of how these things work, there's a legal process there. We're not going to discuss or debate what Sean Rooney did or didn't do, but ultimately you wonder how much these things are a disruption for a football club, and what impact that has on St Mirren today.
Yeah, I was speaking to Stephen Robinson yesterday when he was doing his pre-match media duties. He was obviously asked questions, couldn't comment a whole lot on the situation, of course, but was asked whether it was a distraction, a disruption to the squad. He said no. He said it was completely taken out of his hands. It was a board decision, and at that point the players in the building just have to get on with it. Of course, I think players will naturally be curious. A player that is in their changing room that they'll have bonded with and had friendships with, they'll be wondering what is going on, but the players do need to get on with it. I spoke to Richard Taylor yesterday as well, who said they saw the statement on Thursday evening, they were off on Thursday, they came on Friday, and it was business as usual. They just trained, they have to get on with it, and then they need to go out on the pitch and make sure they perform today. You look at the squad as well. St Mirren have a really well put together squad. They have at least 2 players for every single position. It means that they do have that backup option in Elvis Bomono, and he's shown at times he's developed over the last few months where he's been at St Mirren, so there will of course now be a big emphasis for him to go on and try and fill that void that is now left with Sean Rooney currently suspended by the club.
Records are there to be broken and all that stuff, but is there just something about these teams that always seems quite evenly matched on the day, even if one finishes above the other in the table? Andrew, I think it's once in the last 17 meetings there's been more than 1 goal in it, which is quite something.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. There are so many parallels between the two teams. They are the sort of structures of the clubs, even the way they line up on the pitch in terms of the formations they play, the style of play as well. Both managers, as I said earlier on, speaking to them in the build-up, they both acknowledge that the two teams are very similar. There's not much to separate them at all. One thing that Stephen Robinson said, though, that the main thing is when you're coming up against a team that you expect to be very close to you in the table, you think are quite similar, the main thing is to just get points against them. If you get points against them, he said, there's a very good chance you're going to finish above them in the table. So it is quite crucial, especially with two teams who have ambitions to be top 6 sides and try and push for those European places. If they can tick along, get the results against the teams that are in a similar spot to them in the table, then they'll hopefully finish above the other come the end of the season. So that's what both teams will be aiming to do today, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. I think once again we're going to be in for a real tight affair between these two sides.
Yeah, looking at Kilmarnock against Dundee United, Roger Hannah, you wonder how adamant Derek McInnes is that disciplinary issues cannot happen again. Yes, Kilmarnock feel hard done by for elements of that St Mirren game and the aforementioned Sean Rooney and other incidents that he feels went against him, but he doesn't think Joe Wright sending off was wrong. He spoke publicly, which was quite a big statement, about fining Joe Wright 2 weeks' wages. You just wonder how that impacts things going forward, because of course he's trying to hammer home better discipline. Can players sometimes then overthink that and hold back? I don't know. It just feels like it's been a web of issues for him in that department this season.
Yeah, very much so. And key players sent off as well. Lewis Mayo, you can make an argument, is Kilmarnock's best defender last season. Brad Lyons has developed so much. He was handing the captain's armband a couple of times when Kyle Vassell was out the team. Joe Wright also has been a key player since he arrived at the club. So I think Derek's been disappointed that important players, senior players, have landed these red cards. And listen, if there's a Kilmarnock player gets sent off by Craig Napier here this afternoon, he'll be fined 2 weeks' wages, he'll be washing Derek McInnes' car, and he'll be scrubbing the track. Derek is not having any more of the indiscipline because he feels it is the singular biggest factor in Kilmarnock's struggles this season.
Mark Wilson's nodding away because I thought that was just colourful language from Roger Hannah, but you actually did once wash a manager's car.
Aye, Alex Smith, Morris Malpass, and the minibuses that we used to travel in. I was a bus washer. That was one of my jobs.
Why didn't they tell you we went round to their houses on a Sunday to do it?
How do you think of getting that first team so quickly?
Yeah, it's interesting, Mark, isn't it? Because if you're Derek McInnes, you need to do something drastic, or you feel you need to do something drastic to stop it. 2 weeks' wages, this level, players don't make a lot of money.
No.
Sometimes you get hard done by. I don't know, would he be more forgiving if a player is really hard done by today? You know, goes into an honest tackle, there's not much in it.
Oh, without doubt,
or is it just a
be.
blanket?
I surely cannot be a blanket fine, because it's stupidity that led to the 2 weeks wages fine, and a double offence at that. So if someone gets sent off for 2 bookings, I'm sure he'll show a bit of leeway, but he certainly needs a result. He's picked an attacking team, 2 big powerful strikers. I think they might get one today.
I think Derek's short fuse is a reflection of the way the season has started for Kilmarnock. He did an exceptional job last season. Derek is quoted for every job that comes up, and at the moment he runs the risk of being bottom of the league tonight. If they fail to win and Hearts do win, Kilmarnock will go bottom of the league, and it doesn't reflect well on anyone. So yes, he's annoyed because red cards are self-inflicted wounds, but he really could be doing with kick-starting Kilmarnock's season, because so far it's been a washout.
Is it just that 2 and 2 together, Roger Hannah, as the days have gone on? Has it become clear already that Hearts will go in a direction different from Derek McInnes, or is that still a question that could be asked?
If I was Hearts, I wouldn't necessarily go in a direction different from Derek McInnes. If you look at the teams, Gordon, that have been successful in the Premiership in the last couple of years, you know, take Kilmarnock and St Mirren as an example. You know, Derek McInnes had success in the league at St Johnstone, success in the league at Aberdeen. He knows the league, he knows what players can work in the league, he knows how to set a team up to be successful in the Scottish Premiership. And St Mirren into Europe, top 6 the last 2 seasons. Stephen Robinson, a man who had success at Motherwell, took them to third, took them to a couple of cup finals, then took St Mirren back-to-back top 6. He knows how to do it. He knows what players can succeed in this league. So I think Hearts would be foolish not to consider people who are sort of tried and trusted in this division. But if they're looking at data analysis, anything could happen, because look at the way Brighton have appointed their last few managers. You know, the likes of Roberto De Zerbi, the likes of Fabian Hürzeler, guys who weren't necessarily obvious candidates, if you like, and who had never worked in that division. So don't be surprised if Hearts go for someone who's never worked in the division.
Well, we did mention Hearts, an interesting team selection from Liam Fox. No summer signings in that squad. That's maybe exaggerated by the injury absence to Gerald Taylor and others, but a more familiar looking, although he's handed out a young debut as well there at Tynecastle for the visit of Ross County. In terms of Dundee Aberdeen, Dave, for the visitors, and it's funny the question there about what direction you go in for a manager. Aberdeen look like they've got theirs spot on, but I wonder about today, just how big a loss Papa Gay will be. 6 goals in all competitions. Incredible to think that he's actually the main man, given the way he was sent off on loan last season.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it just goes to show, doesn't it, how the right manager can get a tune out of a player by managing him properly. And previous managers couldn't get a tune out of Papi Gay, but he's kind of setting the heather on fire at the moment. Yeah, his talents will be a miss, but then again, you've got the likes of Topi Keskinen, who can just slot in. And you know, he cost £850,000, and he has looked very impressive. So I don't see that being a big loss for Aberdeen. Such is the strength of the squad that Jimmy Tulane has assembled. Really relishing this one, all in all. Both sides delivering exciting, attacking football. Recent results. Dundee boss Tony Docherty insists there's nothing to fear from facing Aberdeen, despite those recent results. You know, and they had a decent record against them last season with 1 win and 2 draws, remember. Of course, quite a lot has changed in both camps since then, and another landmark Jimmy Tulane Dons could reach today, incidentally, is becoming the first non-Old Firm side to start a Premiership campaign with 6 successive victories since 2015-16. So atmosphere building up very nicely. Lots to look forward to here.
Yes, Dave Galloway has set the scene at the Scotfoam Stadium. Dundee against Aberdeen, Hearts against Ross County, Killie against Dundee United, and closest of all to us here, Motherwell against St Mirren. Plenty to get our teeth into in the 3 o'clock games. More to come this evening, even more to come tomorrow, but for now the 3 o'clock kickoffs are next. Kick-offs fast approaching across the Scottish Premiership and beyond. I feel like my whole existence has just been thrown off in the last week, because how can I possibly criticise Hugh Keevins for his ability to predict things when out of nowhere, I mean nowhere, in August he said Stephen Naismith would get the sack early on in the season. Unbelievable. Let's see if you can back it up on the Premiership ACCA this afternoon, though. What are you thinking?
I am thinking, and I beg your pardon and that of Gordon Dalziel, I am thinking St Mirren will overcome off-field issues and win at Fir Park. I am taking Kilmarnock to beat Dundee United, Hearts to beat Ross County, Aberdeen to continue Jimmy Teelan's unbeaten run and win in Dundee, and tonight in Perth, Celtic away.
I think I'll go for a draw at Fir Park, a Kilmarnock home win, a Hearts home win, a draw, Dundee, Aberdeen, and Celtic to win away at St Johnstone.
I'm going to mix up a little bit. I'm going to go Motherwell home win. I'm going to go Kilmarnock Dundee United draw. I'm going to go Hearts to get their first win. And here's my big one today: home win Dundee.
Oh.
I have to say, Dundee to beat Aberdeen is huge from you. You must be feeling bold this week.
I'm going for it. I can pull out a result. I'm not getting the ACCA up, but I can pull out a result in the last few weeks.
Well, listen, fair play to you. That's what you're here for, to make the big predictions. No point in playing it safe every week. So we'll see how you fare between now and 5 o'clock. That's us then, up and running in the 3 o'clock games. Give us a tweet if you want to get in touch right now. Send us a tweet at Clyde SSB. Stay in touch all afternoon, and then later on I'll give you the nod when it's time to have your say on the phones. We'll look back on today's action. I suppose we'll have time to quickly preview St Johnstone Celtic, and of course look ahead to the league return to Ibrox for the visit of Hibs tomorrow. But in the meantime, sit back and, I was going to say relax. I don't think that's possible when these three are involved and when there's football taking place, but we'll see how we get on. It's even, as Alan Hudson points out, Scottish Cup Day. He says here we go for the Bankies, just along the road. Girvan, isn't it?
Yep, at the Estadio Paper Hanky, and looking forward to a good run there for the Bankies.
Broxburn and Dalkeith on the telly last night to get it up and running. If there is anything jumping out from the first round of the Scottish Cup, I'll tell you all about that as well. But plenty to get our teeth into in the Premiership today, Mark.
Oh, certainly. I mean, some good games. At that one, is it still the Scott Foam Arena or something
Stadium,
like that? Stadium, anyway.
Stadium, yeah.
Dundee versus Aberdeen interests me, because I think, like everybody else, I'm slightly surprised how well they've started the season, and it's getting to the end of the cycle, and Dundee's been not too bad. If they win today, they are serious, about trying to split.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you still need to win the games, and teams year in year out show that that's difficult. But if you do play Celtic or Rangers in your first 6, then you maybe don't go on that. You maybe don't go on that run. And I think some of the, was it Kilmarnock and St Mirren, or certainly one of them, played sort of after European games, and it maybe helps. So maybe, as always, Hugh, the truth probably somewhere in the middle. It's maybe been a touch gentle for Aberdeen, but it shouldn't take too much away from how well they've done.
No, you can only beat what's in front of you, as the cliche goes. But Gordon Dalziel has thrown the cat amongst the pigeons here by going out on a limb with Dundee. Papagay not playing for Aberdeen, regular goal scorer for them. How much of a setback will that be?
You're Papa K in your house as well, aren't you?
Yeah, no, Papa Shug.
That doesn't rhyme. Like, sort of
no, but
ruined it for me.
I've got an account. One of the kids set up an account for me, and the password was Papa Shug.
Oh, great! You've now been hacked. You just revealed his password.
It was his bank account.
Royal Bank of Scotland.
No, it wasn't.
Don't say what it was.
What's
For
that
goodness
PIN number
sake.
again?
Oh my goodness.
Are you called Papa, Hugh, or Grandad? Papa?
Yeah. The two wee ones are on a boat right now going to the Isle of Skye. What's it? And I've got another two who are at Stamford Bridge, thanks to my learned friend Gordon Dalziel, who got them tickets. And what a day.
What's the deal with that? I heard that you got Hugh Keevins' grandkids tickets for Stamford Bridge.
Look, when you're in big time, you're in the big time. You know people. Obviously, it was my first ever game in England. Still got a lot of people down there to speak to. Stamford at the bridge. So I knew Hugh needed a couple of tickets, picked the phone up, and once again delivered.
But Mark Wilson, you back me up on this. Seriously, when does he ever do anything for somebody? Just for no reason.
No, there's got to be a reason behind it.
No,
He
came on the phone.
Must be after something from you.
Came on the phone straight away. Kids were absolutely thrilled and
suspicious.
Papa Daz has produced.
Yeah.
I'm very suspicious, I have to say. What it sounds to me more is that you're now able to pull in a favour for some. There just has to be a reason.
There's no reason, just out the
You've just gone out your way.
The kindest
Hold
of
on, did you not say you were thinking of writing a book?
I'm writing a book, yeah.
There we go.
No,
Hugh's got experience of writing
Let me
books.
tell you, I've seen this man's fee, and it's going to take more than a couple of tickets.
Yeah. I was
him to
just
write
out of the
your
kind
book.
in my heart. I come into a couple of tickets. I knew Brighton were playing there. Phoned up Papa Shug.
Yep.
And decided you're the one for
See,
me.
for what it's worth, when you do write the book, is the deal going to include therapy for the person who writes it?
Oh yeah.
For the therapy that they're going to inevitably need once they've heard your deepest, darkest secrets.
I think they'll need to go in and check every chapter if it's legal to.
I'll be in the top shelf of shops.
That's a magazine I'm writing with photographs.
I've got one coming out Wednesday. I will shamelessly plug it.
So is it Wednesday? The big release date? Go on,
Yeah.
tell our adoring public all about it.
Yeah, Murdo it's called. The story of Murdo MacLeod, a story that is dramatic in nature because of what he's had to go through with health problems. And of course,
sorry.
Yeah, the old Seagulls won up after 6 minutes. Brilliant. What Adidas is. He's had horrendous health problems, but at the same time, it's an incredible story on the football park. If you had played in a game and scored the goal that was voted the greatest of all time in an Old Firm match from Celtic's perspective, and also co-managed Celtic to winning a league title that stopped Rangers from winning 10 in a row, those 2 afternoons or one evening and one afternoon would have been enough for you.
What was the goal, Hugh? No Firm one?
1979, Celtic won the league against Rangers, Celtic Park, 10 men. Beat Rangers 4-2 and Murdo scored the fourth goal.
So Wednesday it's out, is it?
Wednesday
there
it's
you go.
out, yeah.
Early Christmas presents, get them.
Where'd you buy that? Amazon?
Well, no, it's it'll be in all good bookstores, as they say, and in the Celtic bookstores too.
Just to let you know, my book will have nothing to do on the park events. And I'll be a bestseller.
One chapter at the end, just skipping over the playing career.
I also played football.
Here's my clubs.
One night in Kirkcaldy. That's the title of the book.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Bit of an open game early on in Dundee. Both teams trying to get the ball forward. No real breakthrough yet. Vargas has had a shot saved by Laidlaw. Forrest almost scored on the rebound for Hearts, but it was cleared away. None of this is going to be Liam Fox's fault, I'm sure, but it's going to be a massive level of expectation, I'm sure, there today. A home tie against Ross County. Surely Hearts will fancy their chances of getting up and running. Hugh, let's do this.
Yep. Alright, this is a quirky one. You need to get your thinking cap on here. Since 1998, 7 players have scored a hat-trick in the top flight in Scotland. The quirk in the question: their forename and their surname began with the same letter. Name them. Since 1998, 7 players have scored a hat-trick in the top flight in Scotland. Their forename and surname began with the same letter. Who are they?
That is difficult because 7 answers is quite a lot. Since 98 is quite a time frame as well. So this is going to separate those with the real knowledge. At Clyde SSB, it is a race. We need a tweet with all 7 correct answers on it, and you need to beat everyone else to the punch. So come on down and show us what you are made of. 7 answers spanning right from 1998 up until pretty much the present day. I like it. I like that question a lot. Tayosi Olasanya threw 1-on-1 at Fir Park loads of time, saved by Aston Oxborough, looked a mile offside, and the flag eventually goes up. Aston Oxborough's come in quite seamlessly, Gordon, hasn't he? I mean, plenty of time for him to make a mistake today and then ram those words back down my throat. But Liam Kelly played constantly. Aston Oxborough had to wait in reserve. Oh, there we go. Maybe he's chucked one in because we've got one of these already.
Oh no.
Clearly a sign of things to come. It was a lovely touch on the turn of volley, but it's Killian Phillips and it's Motherwell 0, St Mirren 1. A blistering start for the Buddies in Lanarkshire.
Yeah, not the start that Motherwell wanted. I think Andrew's in for a treat there. I know it'll be a tight game, but I think we'll get plenty of goals. Two teams in good form, attacking. St Mirren off to a terrific start, and Motherwell, it's up to them to respond now. But if you've got to lose a goal,
yeah.
You know, sometimes
it early,
that's it.
Gordon's right. There's plenty of time left for the scoreline to be altered, but sometimes, you know, we feel that off-field issues have a greater impact on management and players than they actually do have. And what's gone on off the park for St Mirren this weekend I think it galvanises management and players rather than diminishes them.
I think as well, Mark, if you acknowledge that on paper it looks tight, sometimes you need not a goal out of nothing, that's the wrong phrase, but a bit of magic. You know, you're not going to get loads of chances maybe handed to you on a plate. So Killian Phillips has got his back to goal, he cushions it on the swivel and smashes it into the bottom corner. You know, that would be probably a low percentage chance, and sometimes you need that bit of magic, and he's produced.
Yep, and it might just open the game up. I mean, the fans at Fir Park have seen some standard of goals recently by the sounds of that one as well. But you're right, there's not much between those sides. It's you know, so many similarities as the guys have mentioned today, but a good start for St Mirren. If they get another win today, you know, back-to-back victories, they're turning into a really solidified top six side, Stephen Robinson, and that's why he gets mentioned in connection with jobs like Hearts.
Yeah, only goal of the Premiership so far is that one at Fir Park. No real sign. There'd been a moment before the game and then a round of applause on 7 minutes for Fabian Caballero, who very sadly died at the age of 46. Dundee mourning the loss of what they say was a brilliant servant, the Paraguayan. I'm sure if you're old enough, you'll certainly remember him because he was part of a really glamorous and eye-catching Dundee team. A fine player, which often gets mentioned, but in a way is completely irrelevant on days like this, Mark. Just very sad news regardless of his footballing ability, but it does so happen that he was an excellent player as well.
He was an outstanding player. Played against him many times. My full debut for Dundee United was in the Derby. He was playing then in a very good Dundee side. It's just so sad when you hear of a footballer that age, an ex-footballer that age, passing away. So, you know, a real sad time for all connected.
When you think of that period at Dens Park, incredible. I mean, Claudio Caniggia, Ravanelli.
Just ask Jim Duffy all about it.
I remember Jim telling me that at the time, you know, when people say Ravanelli, who? What? And that, sure enough, Ravanelli turned up, was signed. An astonishing period.
Yeah, he's strong as an ox, but what ability he had as well in the ball, Caballero. And it was an odd time in Dundee to be in Dundee at that time, but he was certainly one of the picks of the bunch when he was there.
Oh, big goal that in the Championship. Wraith Rovers 1, Falkirk 0, a Jack Hamilton penalty. Falkirk, who are sweeping everything before them after coming up last season, even got the tag of the toughest opponent Celtic have faced this season, according to Brendan Rodgers, despite the 5-2 defeat. But they are a goal down to Wraith Rovers in Kirkcaldy.
Yeah, but the one thing about Falkirk, they've got you know, the fact that they can come back. Were they not 2 down a couple of weeks ago and come back and win the game?
1-3-2.
So
I remember even was it the last day of the season when they were chasing the Invincibles at Alloa, not 2-0 up on them.
Yeah,
they've got good
so
character.
there's still plenty of football left in that, but a terrific start for the whole team.
Brendan Rodgers paid John McGlynn the ultimate compliment last Sunday, because after an hour he's thought to himself, we're 2-1 down to Falkirk, the team I have picked will not beat them, so I have to send for the cavalry here. And he did, and in the form of Arne Engels and Nicholas Kuhn, he put 2 players in the park who altered the course of the afternoon. But Falkirk were outstanding at Celtic Park until Brendan sent for the cavalry.
Don't know if it's a Scott Allen coaching masterclass, having spent the night with Hold on, didn't spend the night with Hugh Keevins.
Yeah. Oh.
Spent the evening with Hugh Keevins
Spooning.
last night with his
I'll picture
broken
that.
his broken wrist. Kelty Hearts 1, Annan 0, Queen of the South 1, Dumbarton 0. So goals going in up and down the country. Good save from Kieran O'Hara. Luca Stevenson, I bet he's had a tough week after diving in to give away the penalty at Fir Park. A really poor decision from him last Friday night. He's had an effort there saved by Kieran O'Hara.
Must be one of the most frustrating injuries for a player that Scott's got. A broken wrist.
Yeah.
You know, because you can take anything else. You know, you can't run or you can't play. You can do everything in training probably, but you can't take to the field. So,
You ever had a
broken wrist? No, I've always had strong wrists.
Yeah, we know that. Have you ever had anything broken?
My foot. I broke that at Old Trafford against Man United.
Look at that.
Yeah. Sylvestre done me, and he got away with it as well.
And how long were you out? Were you in a sticky?
No, I was in the big moon boot. You know, they were just the fashion at that time.
I had a massive sticky. I broke my nose. And three teams in the Premier League signed it.
Never a broken bone?
No, apart from my nose.
That doesn't count.
No, that was it.
I've had my nose smashed by my teammate. Yep.
Dundee 0, Aberdeen 1, and it's Kevin Nisbet signed clearly to provide the goals that Bojan Mijovski did last season. It's a calm side foot finish, and the Dons keep going, Hugh.
He's talked himself up, Kevin Nisbet. Nothing wrong with that. If you don't blow your own trumpet, no one else will. But he's come from Millwall, which was not a purple patch in his career, and you know, it could be, it has the makings of a Lawrence Shanklin from last season about it. He's looking good, fitted in well, and they needed someone to provide a spark with Papagay not available to them today. Jimmy Teelan's bandwagon rolls on.
He'll do well for him, Nisbet. I know what you're saying, Hugh. He went down south. Sometimes clubs down south in the Championship just don't suit the style of play, don't suit you as a player. He's come back up the road. He's got off and running with Aberdeen. I tell you, he will score goals for Aberdeen, of that there's no doubt.
Chance Motherwell to equalise. A let off for Mark O'Hara. Blind pass allows Moses Abie to steal in. He hits the side netting. Now a penalty to Motherwell. Lennon Miller, you would imagine, took one last week and by all accounts was about to dink it until the very last minute, and then changed his mind when he saw the goalkeeper moving. So we'll see if he decides. Anyway, well, still VAR could still have a look and all that stuff. Dan Casey was wrestled to the ground at a corner. It's the real difficult one that we saw at Rangers last week, didn't we? One was given, one wasn't. Don't know if you saw the key match incident review panel talking about how they feel that the referee got that one, the one that wasn't given at Ibrox. They feel like the referee got it wrong, but they felt it was right that VAR didn't intervene, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
So anyway, there is going to be a VAR check. Stephen Robinson's raging, so we'll wait and see what the outcome is there. The one thing that I think the bit that's still, that is like what I said there at Ibrox, Mark, the bit, and this is not just here, I think just everywhere really when it comes to VAR, the penalty does stand. Because I was going to say, this idea that once it's given, it needs to be really, really wrong for it to get overturned, or vice versa. It doesn't feel like not just us, it doesn't feel like football's got to grips with that. Because what does it mean? What you think's an obvious error, I might not, and so on. Anyway, Lennon Miller will take the penalty for Motherwell. It does stand. Elsewhere, Larkesh has had a header straight at Mitov, so Dundee looking to try. Here comes Lennon Miller. Sends Balcombe the wrong way. He is one composed young man. Gordon Dalziel tends to look like everything is calm to him, and he strokes that one away.
I think this could be a massive season for him, Gordon. I think if he keeps himself fit, gets a run in the team, they've changed his position a little bit, and he's now on the penalty kicks. I think this could be a big season for that young lad.
Just needs to stay fit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Needs a rubbery green, like all good young players. They need to avoid serious injury and stay in the team and tick along. He's doing well again to back up what he did last season. You just wonder come January. I know speculation surrounding him a long time. Come January, you just wonder if somebody will tempt Motherwell.
He's the outstanding young player in the country. Therefore, he's under the microscope all the time, and clubs are looking at him. I think it's inevitable. If he doesn't go in January, it is absolutely inevitable. This will be his last season at Motherwell.
Do you know what I wish, right? See, just to take the heat out of some of the debate. You know, we're talking about referees and pulling at corners and all that sort of stuff, and then is there enough contact there and is there not, and why was that one given and that one wasn't? When are players going to wake up to the fact that there are cameras watching what they do in the penalty box?
Yeah.
For me, this is why the debate becomes tiresome, because you end up saying, oh, I mean, he's definitely holding him, he definitely is, but maybe not quite enough, or yeah, but you know, Gordon did that to Mark last weekend and it wasn't. How about you just don't hold? And by the way, this is more of a general rant. This is me having not seen the one at Fir Park, so I don't know what Stephen Robinson thinks, and this one might be a mistake. I've no idea. But do you get what I mean? I'm amazed. I was looking at Dundee last week. I know it's contact, I know it's fine margins and you need to get close. I'm just amazed at how much players still do it.
Yeah, I totally understand that, but it's almost like players are hardwired. I don't think it's ever going to change. I can totally understand it. Me as a player, if I was in that box, I would understand this camera's there. But as soon as you go to move away from me and I'm desperate to stop a goal and gain an advantage on you,
would
my
you
hands
take
wouldn't
chance?
go
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Because it's a split second.
It's not just football. I read a terrific quote after Anthony Joshua lost the big fight last Saturday to Daniel Dubois, and people were talking about maybe it's time for Joshua just to admit that time's up for him. And a quote from another boxer who said, he's a boxer, the penny will drop when he's 45. And that's what it's like, as Mark Wilson said, hardwired.
To be clear, this might be a terrible mistake and Stephen Robinson might be right. I've not seen it yet, but just more of a general thought on that topic, because I know that pushing and pulling in the box is a really difficult area to police. So maybe players could help out a little bit.
What the Kelly boy did, it was it last week. That's why Derek McInnes was so annoyed. He just kind of punched, didn't he?
Oh yeah, that was different. Yes.
That's what you can't do.
There are no issues.
Yeah, you're not hardwired to do that.
No issues with that. Not in that area of the body.
Can't
Anyway,
punch below the belt.
you cannot indeed. How are you two in here faring with the
We're doing okay.
Very good.
teaser? It's a good question. Remind us, Hugh.
Since 1998, 7 players have scored a hat-trick in the top flight here in Scotland. Their forename and their surname all began with the same letter. Can you name them?
Cracking question. Really, really good. Let's see what we've got on the list here. I can see some very good efforts coming in, that's for sure. Yeah, most of them looking pretty good, I have to say. Here's one that might be a popular wrong answer.
That's a big goal, Gordon.
Oh, there is a big goal. Let's do it. Kilmarnock 0, Dundee United 1, and vindicated for getting put in the team today. Louis Moult came on at Fir Park, scored a cracker in the cup. Lots of Dundee United fans suggesting maybe it was time to get him in the starting 11. He has. Stevenson with the cut back, a superb move, and there is Louis Moult to get you the goal, Mark Wilson, for your former team.
Yeah, very good from a Dundee United point of view. On the road, you know, Tynecastle, when was that, a couple of weeks ago? They get a good 1-0 victory there. Started well. Louis Moult adds so much to the team, doesn't he? I mean, Van de Sande, I get Jim had to give him his opportunity because he's a new signing, a striker, and you know, was it Roger earlier on highlighted it that you need to give them time to try and get a goal. But Louis Moult looks a better bet, and he's proved it last week and this week. But for Derek McInnes,
it's a tough challenge for newly promoted teams when they come up, because you have obviously a body of work that's been successful. That's why you got promoted. But it's a harder level, and quite often you do need to try and make improvements. So we've seen that really clearly from Dundee United, haven't we? There are loads of players that got them up that are now not really near it. Louis Moult got 20 goals in the Championship last season, but isn't starting any games, you know, at the moment. I think it is a difficult balance to strike between supposedly newer, better players and then the guys that got you there.
Yeah, I think sometimes as a manager you tend to be loyal to the guys that got you from the Championship into the Premier League. I can see some of that argument, but as you quite rightly said, you're getting into higher standards.
But that's what I mean. I think it's worked in reverse here.
Yeah,
a bit.
Well, I think that guys like Louis Moe, for me personally, if you give him the opportunity, I think he's a natural goal scorer. I think he'll score goals at any standard. I really do. You seen the one against Motherwell, it was a terrific finish. He's got one today. Goal scoring's all about confidence. You get that goal, you're feeling good about yourself, you're waiting for the next game, give me a chance, and all of a sudden he's starting to put the ball in the back of it.
Anyway, we were looking at the teaser, weren't we? Which was 7 players since 98, hat-trick in the top flight, and their first name and second name begin with the same letter. I think the most common wrong one I can see, Kev IN and Robbie both throwing in Nacho Novo.
Oh, we threw him in.
Throw him out.
Throw him back out again,
please. That's definitely the most common wrong answer. I think Rusty probably knows this guy didn't get a hat-trick, but he's thrown him in. Josip Juranovic.
Nope.
Good player, scored some goals, but never a hat-trick. And GK Dave wants to give a go at maybe a former teammate of yours, Mark, Yuri Jarosik.
Oh,
he was a former teammate. Daz said that as well, suggested it. Can't even remember him.
Not
Scored
on the
too
list.
many. Good player.
Not on the
We're
list, I'm
struggling
afraid.
here. We're struggling.
Well, at Clyde SSB, it is a race. We're looking for the 7 answers, so get them into us as quickly as you can. And if you, like these guys, have a short attention span and you want to see the question written down, then you can go to the Twitter feed as well, at Clyde SSB.
Were those tickets for the Chelsea end?
Why been thrown out?
No. I told them not to celebrate if Brighton scored, and now Chelsea have equalised.
Yeah, but they get through out after Brighton scored because they celebrated more than the Chelsea end. So don't worry about it. They're in safe hands. They're on the train on the way home. They'll be in contact in the next 10 minutes.
As long as it's not the Metropolitan Police that are in contact.
Jamie McGrath is down hurt after colliding with Mitov. He's had a brilliant start to the season. He's up now and okay.
Just to go back to that Kilmarnock Dundee United game, Louis Moult having put United 1 up, you know, the danger exists now that Kilmarnock might finish the night bottom of the table, and you can't go on about self-inflicted wounds, red cards. The start to the season has been unsatisfactory, and they need to get back into this game quickly.
Yeah, it feels like for Kilmarnock, Mark, today is about sort of how, I'm not saying there were excuses, but there is no excuse today, if that makes sense. So far, you know, start of the season fine, everybody acknowledges it's not easy to play in Europe, especially if you're not used to it, then come back into league, so fine, we're letting you away with that, if you like. Then when you come back off the back of the you know, the first game out of that run is the trip to St Mirren, where you're probably hard done by the ref. You spend half the game down to 10 men. They should have been down to 10 men. Fine. But today, no European hangover. You've still got 11 on the pitch at the moment. You've had a fortnight to prepare, and you're at home. So there won't be as much sympathy around if Kelly can't get something today.
And I think there's been a lot of that. I think even when you go back to the start of the season, playing Celtic and who were in irresistible form, and then you think man sent off against St Johnstone early on and you get done 3-0, can happen in a game. You're right to highlight the European stuff, but when you're coming up against Dundee United, who've been promoted, and you're a top 6 side on merit from last season with experienced players in your squad, you really need a result. You really cannot afford to lose that one. And I fancy Hearts to win today at Tynecastle, and you mentioned it earlier, that puts you bottom of the league. That really isn't good enough.
I'll tell you who's having a miserable time of it: Airdrie and Rhys McCabe, for all the praise and understandable. Last season, Livy 1, Airdrie 0, Stephen Kelly on 29 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they are bottom. Airdrie are bottom of the championship, and Rhys McCabe has had outstanding moments at the club and gathered a reputation that was not undeserved, but he's in a slump. There's no getting away from it.
Wonder again though if that's a lesson in that when you've got your team that you like and you know works, he's clearly capable of getting a tune out of them. When there's a bit of turnover in the summer, recruitment's hard, and he lost some big characters, if you like, you know, some players that were main parts of that team, and having to sort of go again is not always easy.
I think that's the problem. I think it's a big learning curve for him. He's a young manager, still plays. Everything was going rosy for him, and then all of a sudden you start looking at game after game. You're not winning, you're not picking up results. You're looking at that league table. Your Saturday nights become a lot different. Mark will tell you that by experience.
It's a
and
long old place.
yeah, and you look at, for instance, you've got to admire, that's why Dave Martindale at Livingston, when he was in the Premier League, he lost his best players every year, and he kept turning them over and turning them over and turning them over until eventually it ran out for him. But he'll probably learn more just now. He'll not like it, of course he won't, but he'll learn more in management just now with the way things are going.
No,
about
it was an
himself.
interesting one. One of the players that he's lost, he's ended up at Thistle now. The right back from Hibs, Megwa, who was outstanding. A lot of good stuff came down the right hand side for Airdrie last season, and I saw him a couple of times against Thistle, and he stood out like a sore thumb. How are they not able to get him back to the club again?
Take it all back,
And
it's
Thistle
one
could-
each.
Take
it all back. Airdrie equalised.
So they
Oh,
have.
he's doing a terrific job.
I think probably finances there, no, because I think
perhaps,
was it not Wraith Rovers wanted them as well. I think a lot of Championship clubs did, and he ended up at as Partick Thistle, as you quite rightly point out. Just on this teaser, by a mile, the most common wrong answer is Nacho Novo. Forget Nacho Novo and try and come up with the rest of them.
Listen,
do you want me to get you tickets for the next game?
It's Bow Street Magistrates Court on Monday. That's my concern.
Chelsea 3, Brighton 1
for Palmer.
And Hugh Keevins and Gordon Dalziel have sent Hugh's grandkids to the Chelsea end.
That wasn't worth your 100 quid, you that
Palmer
you're
hat-trick.
giving me
Here
at
we
5
go.
o'clock.
I'm very simple in the way I view these things. I care not for Brighton's result now that Billy Gilmore's not there. Basically, if a Premier League team's got a Scottish player in it, I want them to do well, which is a complicated theory when they might come up against each other and then you need to pick one. But
what I'm curious about is Stamford Bridge, Hugh. What would be the snacks that you get there? You know, here's bog standard pie, and what's a pie in Bovril now? What would you get at Stamford Bridge? You need to ask the family that. And how much does it cost?
Probably
Lasagna.
Chateaubriand, washed down with a glass of Merlot. Probably.
I bet you it's not cheap.
the press facilities, they'll be different. That's all I'm interested in. I saw someone tweeting or Instagram or something about a press room somewhere, I think Tottenham the other day, and it had like the full big pick and mix.
Oh, that's good.
Even for us,
that's the stadium I want to go to, Tottenham.
No, the one you want to go to is the Arsenal. The press facilities, the food. You two, you three would go crazy at the Emirates.
Ellery Balcombe had to make a good save at his near post. It was a corner that was swung in. I think it was Andy Halliday's delivery, really good ball to the back post, headered, saved by Balcombe, out for another corner kick.
Andy the set piece taker
on that side.
Yeah, with that left foot, that sweet left foot that he's got.
Lennon Miller and then swingers with the right, and Andy Halliday with the left, I think. And game settled down a bit at Tynecastle. There was a frantic start. Hearts are on top, you would say, but we mentioned it earlier, that's an expectant crowd there for sure.
Yeah.
Hugh, I mean,
remember, it's the foundation of Hearts who saved the club from going out of business. The money they put in it on an annual basis is incredible. There's talk of Tony Bloom injecting £10 million, but you've got to start doing it on the park, and the next managerial appointment had better be right.
Bad day for the family, I have to say. Girvan are beating the Bankies in the Scottish Cup as well.
Oh, bad day for the street for me.
Oh, hold on, 3-2 at Stamford Bridge now. Hold on.
I'll tell you what, I've sent them a classic
value for money.
Money, it's a freebie as usual. I've got to say, where's the penguin today?
Sorry,
Fraser Wishart, penguin lookalike.
What is he? What do you mean? Oh, is this new programme that's on? I've not seen it. I mean, it sounds very harsh because I've seen the artwork, and I don't think you're being too kind there about your colleague.
I was just like,
you can't say that. That is outrageous.
Something come up my phone with a penguin. I thought, where's Fraser?
This is the head of PFA Scotland you're talking about here.
Is that what you've been watching, is it?
Yeah, I love
the
that
penguin.
Yeah, penguin's brilliant.
I thought I'd had a bit.
Night Sleepers.
If you watched the Night Sleeper, I knew you would have
done the 6 right.
Of course you did.
One after
what
another.
What time do you go to bed?
I just like to go boom, boom,
watched a
boom.
couple.
Yeah.
And obviously,
one, yeah.
I'm not going to. Oh, hold on. We'll get back to the Night Sleeper. Goal Aberdeen, Dundee 0, Aberdeen 2, and it's the man with the Wayne Rooney and fishing rod tattoo. It's Topi Keskinen, a big investment from Aberdeen, and he's trying to pay them back. Great pace, fine finish, and it's Dundee 0, Aberdeen 2.
Fair play to Jimmy Thielen. It's going to be 12 wins in a row, and that doesn't happen by accident. And Aberdeen will momentarily go top of the league. Celtic don't kick off until the Aberdeen game is finished in Dundee. But that's be fair. You know, he may have played a lot of teams from out with the Premiership early on in the season, but he's in the semi-final of the Premier Sports Cup where he'll meet Celtic. He'll be top of the league by 5 o'clock tonight, and all of a sudden Celtic have to be aware of Aberdeen and Rangers.
Here's a goal that might interest you. Middlesbrough 1, Stoke 0. Ben Doak, his first Middlesbrough goal. That suggests to me he was starting today as well, which hasn't always been the case. So 34 minutes on the clock. Ben Doak scores for Middlesbrough.
Good for a lad to get out and play some football, and obviously his new club getting a goal.
There's a squad announced on early next week, Tuesday, I think. So he would be in it anyway.
I'd like to apologise to Aberdeen. I think I've got that totally wrong. Dave will celebrate.
I thought you were going to be fair. I thought you were going to apologise to Fraser Wishart for likening him to the Penguin.
I'm giving a compliment, but I've got to say Dave will celebrate tonight. He'll be getting a taxi home rather than the last bus.
That's not complimentary at all, is it? Because there's nowhere you can go with that. Thinking that maybe means my hair's the same on that. You obviously you're having a go at his looks there.
He took a long throw in.
The Penguin win of his wee short flippers.
You know how simple my mind can be. So the only reason I got hooked on the Night Sleeper was as soon as they started mentioning Motherwell Station, I thought, oh, what's this? I'm going to have to stay interested in this. And I don't want to give anything away, the plot line or anything, wouldn't dream of it. But I need someone who works in the TV industry to tell me this. Was that filmed at Motherwell Station? Because it doesn't quite look like
that's
it to
not
me.
Motherwell.
It looks close. And I had a wee quick Google. Somebody said it was just along the road in Dalmuir, apparently. Was where they filmed it.
Yeah, because you're looking at the flats. I need someone in the industry
to confirm it, because it looks really like it, and there's just something not right in the background.
There are 5 platforms at Dalmuir Station.
Yeah, similar. It's, like I say, it does look similar, but I do think it wasn't filmed. But
4 at Motherwell? 4, am I right?
Anyone in the BBC want to come and confirm? This is interesting. Hearts 0, Ross County 1. Tynecastle will be wondering what is going on. They've had their managerial change, looking for some sort of reaction. It's a home game against what should be a winnable opponent, beatable opponent, but it is a goal for County, unless VAR has other ideas, because it's having a look. Connor Randall, Ronan Hale eventually with it. Yep, and it is given. Sorry, just double checking that had been given. Hearts 0, Ross County 1. Ronan Hale with the goal.
Well, Hale and not so hearty. So they'll have to get the finger out. The fans will not tolerate this. You're looking down the barrel of 9 defeats in a row. For Heart of Midlothian, that's crisis time. And I don't know what the effect it has on the search for the manager, whether you step it up or whether you take even more time in order to get it absolutely correct. But the margin for error is non-existent now.
It's difficult to put your finger on where the problem lies, because you've got the poor results and performances under Stephen Naismith and his backroom team, and they go, and then Liam Fox comes in. He's not had a lot of time, of course, to work with the side and implement his ideas, but he's changed up the personnel within there. He's taken out all those summer signings and put in his own from who's been there before, and he's gave a debut to the right back who I guess would have played in his B team. So you freshen things up. So then the problem lies with the players. Now you can't sack the players, of course, so you need someone who can get more out of them.
Yeah. Well, let's wait. Hearts might win this 5-1, but as it stands, they trail at Tynecastle against Ross County. At Motherwell and St Mirren level at Fir Park. Dundee 0, Aberdeen 2, so comfortable there. And still to get to St Johnstone Celtic later. Killie 0, Dundee United 1 in Ayrshire. Remind us of the teaser, Hugh. Let's call this the 5 or so minute warning.
Since 1998, 7 players have scored a hat-trick in the top flight here in Scotland. Their 4 names and their surnames all began with the same letter.
James Milne is a bit off on his time, I think, here, James. Mark McGee.
Oh, long ago.
I played against Mark McGee.
Paul Payton.
Paul Payton, not there.
Colin Cameron.
Not there.
Stephen Simmons.
No.
Okay, now the hardest one by a mile was for a team that's involved in the game at Fir Park today. So that's the hardest one by a mile, because he's really not well known.
No.
I think you would have to specifically remember this hat trick. I happen to, but I suppose that's what being in here on a Saturday afternoon does to you.
I'm glad you reminded me of his team, because I looked at his name and I thought, who does he play for?
Okay, let's just be more specific. It's St Mirren. I don't mind giving it away at this stage.
Right.
St Mirren. I think it was towards the end of the season at Dens Park, maybe. Anyway, I'll leave that with you for now.
I remember that. I can't remember his name.
Nor can I.
What is his name?
I can remember one of the goals as well.
Sign of life from Dundee, just trying to make something happen. Lyle Cameron outside the box, but parried away by Mitov.
Well, back to that Luke McCowan factor with Dundee. You know, it's never been quite the same since Luke McCowan went to join Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at that as well this morning, Hugh, and there's only been a couple of games. You're right in a sense, but maybe we need a bit more of a sample, don't we? But yeah, it certainly is looking that way. 4-2 Chelsea now. That's a game the grandkids are getting. See, speaking of the English Premier League, I think I've just been confronted with one of the ultimate games gone moments. You know, you get these things in modern football that even me, as a relatively young progressive man that I like to think of myself as, you just think, what is that? And get that straight in the bin. I think it was Martinelli scored for Arsenal today,
yeah.
And Arsenal tweeted, big milestone, 50 goal contributions in the English Premier League for Gabby Martinelli. Go away. That is not something worth. You don't even understand that, do you? You're just staring at me.
50 goals?
No, goal contributions.
So
goals plus assists.
So
behave yourself.
Year ago.
Come on.
And some of the assists go too far as well. Now that not really an assist.
You roll it to someone,
Puts
he
it in the
beats
top
10
bin.
men and sticks it in the.
I agree with you there, sorry.
It's the Americanisation of football, isn't it?
Data run riot.
Come on.
We don't need it.
I don't mind at times, because it shows you that they're involved, but I'm not having a big Twitter graphic to say well done on your 50 goal contributions. No. Come on, have some shame. Anyway, just climbed down off my high horse.
Hyped up because Man City drew and dropped 2 points
I think
today.
it's clubs just with social media officers that need to fill their time with something, don't they?
To be busy.
They need to get likes on their
50
Instagram and Twitter.
contributions. Come on, honestly. Right, 5 minutes to go, or maybe a bit less than that, across the 3 o'clock games. Of course, there will be a variation there depending on how much VAR intervention we've had. I think we've had a fair bit, really, at a couple of the grounds. That Motherwell penalty.
Can you imagine Tynecastle at half time if they're still 1 down?
The thing is, it probably doesn't become as like, it's not as angry, is it? Because it's Liam Fox, you know, and there's a young player in the team, and they've
but have a
tried
go
to
at the
change.
players.
Yeah,
that'll be the players they'll target of that, won't they?
They just have fans and Hearts have a ground that's a perfect case in point. Hearts just have to vent their feelings. I mean, remember, Tynecastle was the place where I was hit in the head by a woman's handbag.
That's true, and you got punched.
Yeah. So they get
separate incidents, by the way.
They get volatile, and they will be volatile at half time. The Dazzler's right, it's not about Liam Fox, it's just about the general state of the place.
Yeah, I just think it would be worse if it was still Stephen Naismith.
Stephen Naismith will be sitting going, I'm glad I'm not in that dugout, especially if it does go in at 1-0 at half time. But they've got good players, and you know, you just see the fact that they concede so many goals. I said that last week about them when they played St Mirren, and they've got a guy who I think is still a top goal scorer, striker, who's not found the back of net yet. So a lot of things not good at Tynecastle just now.
Ian McCall's not having a great time of it, Hugh.
No,
although
he's not.
You would expect Peterhead up the top of that league, but Peterhead won, Clyde 0.
Yeah, having survived and kept them in the SPFL, got work to do.
Goal Motherwell, they take the lead, and it's Lennon Miller again. The ball dropped nicely in the box. He found the bottom corner. His first was a penalty, now one from open play, and he scores. Varchek, as always, just to come along and confuse things, so we'll keep an eye there. And there's a penalty to Dundee. A suggestion that Malloy could have been sent off, but it is just a yellow card, and we'll wait and see if that gets stuck away. I think they're looking at maybe it hits Lennon Miller's hand as it bounces up, which is the ultimate frustration as a player, because if you're the one that scores, of course, then the goal can't stand. And I wonder if this will be ruled out for hitting the hand. It can't hit the hand of the goal scorer, remember, in any way, so it doesn't become the old
what about the close proximity argument?
Nah, none of that.
No?
Nah, no proximity, no unnatural position, none of that. So the only thing that would really do you, if it doesn't hit the hand, if it's too high, for instance, if it hit your shoulder or whatever. But what was the one? There was Scott McTominay.
Yeah.
Against, remind me, who did they play first in that doubleheader? Poland. When he heads it down onto his hand, his hand proximity and near his body and all that stuff, but the goal doesn't stand. It just depends, really. So we'll need to wait and see what the verdict is on Lennon Miller. The one that I've always, I think, get the most sympathy on, Gordon, is this. Hold on. It does stand. Lennon Miller's goal stands. It does stand. It does indeed. So it's 2-1 to Motherwell.
Well, how would that stand then?
What do you mean?
If you've just explained the rules, if it hits the hand and proximity doesn't come into it, why would it
might hit
maybe too high above his t-shirt line?
Right,
then
okay,
it's not a handball,
okay.
obviously. That would probably be about the only thing. Does it hit his?
Yeah. Okay.
Does it hit the bit of the arm that comes into play, basically? Right.
Great start to season for him.
Here we go. Penalty Dundee. Good games. You have to say. Simon Murray scores the penalty, and it's Dundee 1, Aberdeen 2.
Well, you put your house in Simon Murray. So it sets up a terrific second half. Likewise Tynecastle, likewise Fir Park. It's been a very, very good afternoon. The games are exciting and have much to offer.
The fixture list, sort of at 2 o'clock, you look at that, you're thinking there's goals there for the guys, good entertainment, good talking points, and we're not even at half time. We're certainly getting that. Sorry.
Let's round off the teaser, Hugh. Let's do the dramatic music, build up a bit of suspense.
Since 1998, 7 players have scored a hat-trick in the top flight here in Scotland, and their forename and surname began with the same letter. They are Jonathan Johansson, Michael Moles, Claudio Caniggia, Kevin Kyle, Scott Sinclair, Georgios Giacomakis, and the one that you were talking about from St Mirren, Cody Cook.
There we go. Lots of you got it right. Derek FM in third place, well done. Henki Moravchik in second place, and Not Matondo was the winner. Congratulations. I think the half-time whistle has gone. You were right, loud boos from the home fans at Tynecastle. We'll get to Dale Eaton in just a second. Waiting on the half-time whistles going elsewhere, but briefly before we do, that's not the 45 minutes these Hearts fans had in mind.
No, not at all. When the manager is sacked, even though it's an interim manager in his place, you expect the players to respond. Liam Fox's response was to dump everyone who had been signed close season. So it suggests to me that at the moment nobody knows what to do for the best at Hearts. Leave out all the players we signed, stick with these, and it doesn't work, or it is not working as yet. So they're headed for their 9th defeat in a row. They're bottom of the league. Lawrence Shanklin still hasn't scored a goal this season, and that's why the booing is very loud at Tynecastle.
They'll certainly need big characters in the second half. They went off to that. They'll be sitting in the dressing room It's a very difficult job for Liam Fox to lift the players. They've got to show character. They've got to go out there and roll their sleeves up and try and get back in the game, get the supporters back on side. If they get an early goal, they can do that, lift the tempo. But just now, I don't see where that's coming from, because last year they depended so much on Shanklin and everything was built round about him. Shanklin's not producing it, he's not scoring, and nobody seems to be standing up and taking responsibility.
Yeah, the half-time whistles elsewhere should be imminent. There was 3 added at Dundee. That was a couple of minutes ago. A few bits of drama in the game at Fir Park as well, so we need to wait and see when the referee brings that one to a close. But as soon as they do, we will go round the grounds, and I don't suppose the Killie fans will be too happy either, based on the way that first half has gone so far. So we're nearly there, that's for sure. We've given you the answers to that first half teaser as well. We'll give you a Who Am I a bit later on in the afternoon. Half time in Dundee, Dave Galloway. Oh, can Dave Galloway hear us? Dave, where are you? Not yet. Let's go to Roger Hanna in Kilmarnock. Roger?
Yeah, Kilmarnock 0, Dundee United 1 at the break. Not the boos from the home fans at Dale's Hearing at Tynecastle, but they can't be happy. Kilmarnock struggling again. They could have been ahead after 44 seconds, Gordon. A lightning break, an effort by the skipper Kel Vassell, deflected just past the post from Danny Armstrong's set piece. Stuart Finlay get first contact and just couldn't quite direct it on Jack Walton's goal. It was a bright start, but then there was a chance at the other end. David Babunski trading passes with a recalled Louis Moult before firing wide. Moult, of course, recalled after that goal at Motherwell last weekend. Sam Dalby getting a first start up top in front of him, and they were trying to present a threat to Kilmarnock goalkeeper Kieran O'Hara. O'Hara produced a great save from right wing back Lucas Stevenson after he'd been freed by a fine pass by Emmanuel Adebayoga. Adebayoga then back in defensive duties to hack the ball away off his own line after Vassell threatened again. It was a blow for Derek McInnes in 19 minutes. Finlay limping off to be replaced by Robbie Dees at the back, and that home defence was still reorganising when they lost the only goal of the first half after 21 minutes. A terrific move started by the left wing back Will Ferry, a great crossfield pass to the right wing back Lucas Stevenson, and he cut it back across the 6-yard box, taking O'Hara right out of play, and it was an easy tap in for Mould compared to that fantastic finish at Fir Park last week. Mould headed off target from Ferry's cross after 27 minutes as United tried to get a second goal, but it was Kilmarnock who ended the half on the front foot. 2 identical chances. Matty Kennedy twice getting space in the left, twice delivering balls to the back post, twice Danny Armstrong came in with headers, and twice they were off target. They'll need to be on target in the second half, otherwise this long search for a domestic win will go on. At the break, Kilmarnock 0, Dundee United 1.
Let's try Dave Galloway again in Dundee. Dave?
Here, Gordon, I hope you can hear me now. What a first half we've had. Dundee 1, Aberdeen 2. Both teams made their intentions pretty crystal clear from the off, keen to play forward passes, and it was open and end to end. Lyle Cameron shot over from a tight angle for Dundee, whilst at the other end Slobodan Rubizic headed over from a free kick, but the flag was up. Aberdeen went ahead on 14 minutes when the home side didn't deal well with a ball upfield. Topi Keskinen was onto it, and he crossed for Kevin Nisbet to score with a calm side-footed finish. But the home side quickly hit back. Ziad Larkesh passed up a decent chance, heading straight at Dimitar Mitov. They were well in the game, getting forward and playing some good stuff, but the clinical visitors made it 2-0 on 31 minutes with a really good solo effort by Topi Keskinen, bursting forward with terrific pace. John McCracken got his hand to the shot, but the ball flew into the net. The D's saw Lyle Cameron's drive from outside the box parried by Dimitar Mitov, but in the 45th minute they got a goal back, thoroughly deserved for their efforts as well. Simon Murray went down under Gavin Malloy's challenge, and then Murray got up, dusted himself down to send Mitov the wrong way with his penalty kick. That sets up hopefully a thriller in the second half. Really good first half. Dundee 1, Aberdeen 2.
Yeah, good game that one. Similar scoreline, I suspect, coming in from Fir Park, but there was 8 minutes added, and in that Aston Oxborough has made an unbelievable save to deny Killian Phillips from about 5 yards out. So St Mirren thought they had levelled just before the break, but it looks like Motherwell will head into the interval 2-1 to the good. I'll give you the story from Tynecastle very soon as well. We've spoken to Roger Hanna and Dave Galloway, so only those remaining two. Andrew McLean, and then the picture from Tynecastle still to come. Here we go, Andrew McLean at Fir Park.
Motherwell 2, St Mirren 1, the half-time score. We said it would be tight. It has been exactly that so far at Fir Park, but it's a Lennon-Miller double that has the hosts ahead. Stephen Robinson saying this week that these games usually decided by a mistake or a bit of quality, and it was a bit of quality that put his side ahead. Elvis Pomono's cross from the right floated towards Killian Phillips. He had his back to goal, but it was a lovely cushion touch on the turn, then a brilliant volley into the bottom corner for 1-0. It was then a mistake that almost cost them a goal. Mark O'Hara with a really poor blind pass towards his own goal. Moses Abiye stole in, worked his way into the box, could only find the side netting. Motherwell then got the chance to equalise from the spot. It was a corner that was whipped in by Andy Halliday, and referee Lloyd Wilson quickly pointed to the spot after spotting Dan Casey being pulled to the ground by Marcus Fraser. Stephen Robinson was absolutely furious on the touchline with that decision. There was a quick VAR check, but that decision stood. Lennon Miller to step up and take, and he was as calm as he was just over a week ago here against Dundee United, sending Ellery Balcom the wrong way to equalise. Miller then grabbed his second just before half time. The ball came in from the right. It got a bit of a lucky bounce in the right direction as he tried to get past a couple of St Mirren defenders, but he had the composure to just guide it into the bottom corner after that. There was a VAR check after that as well to see if there was a handball, but the goal stood. The 18-year-old, interestingly, has never actually scored in the league before today. All his goals coming in the League Cup, but he's now on a hat-trick after 2 goals in this first half, and the score only remains level though after an outstanding save by Aston Oxborough just a few moments ago, down to his right to deny Killian Phillips from point blank range. A really good stop. So it means the half-time score here at Fir Park of what's been a very entertaining game is Motherwell 2, St Mirren 1.
We'll get a half-time I should say, report from Tynecastle next. Well, that's not going to be a pretty home end there with the frustrations amongst the Hearts fans, but let's recap the half-time scores. Dundee 1, Aberdeen 2, Hearts 0, Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0, Dundee United 1, Motherwell 2, St Mirren 1, and of course St Johnstone Celtic still to come in the Championship. Ayr United 0, Greenock Morton 0, Dunfermline 0, Queen's Park 1, Hamilton Accies 0, Partick Thistle 0, Livy 1, Airdrie 1, Raith Rovers 1, Falkirk 0. In League 1, Inverness 0, Stenhousemuir 0, Kelty Hearts 2, Annan Athletic 0, Montrose 1, Alloa 1, Queen of the South 1, Dumbarton 0. And that is all for League 1. League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Forfar 0, Elgin 0, Edinburgh City 1, Peterhead 1, Clyde 0, and Spartans 0, East Fife 0, Stranraer 0, Stirling Albion 1. The second halves are coming up next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Audi. The fully electric Q4 is now available on Motability. Discover it today.
At Barclays, we're here for every goal. We're here for the Premier League and the Barclays Women's Super League. We're here for the football chants and for giving more girls a chance. We're here for the grassroots and all the muddy boots. From schools to stadiums, we're here for it all. Barclays, here for every goal.
Crime Monthly presents Evil Uncovered is the brand new podcast that leads you into the darkest corners of the human mind. From the makers of the best-selling UK true crime magazine, each episode delves into 3 chilling cases, including cult leaders with deeply sinister motives, notorious roadside abductions, and dangerous deceits that led to murder. Embark on a journey through 24 tales of real-life terror that shocked the world. Evil Uncovered. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts.
At Barclays, we're here for every goal. We're here for the Premier League and the Barclays Women's Super League. We're here for the football chants and for giving more girls a chance. We're here for the grassroots and all the muddy boots. From schools to stadiums, we're here for it all. Barclays, here for every goal.
When you drive the new all-electric Ford Explorer, you might just find yourself going further and further and further and further than you expected. With a range of up to 374 miles on a full charge, Where will the Ford Explorer take you? Book a test drive today. Search Ford 48-hour test drive. Ford, bring on tomorrow. T's and C's apply. Range based on official test data and may vary in different driving conditions.
I don't know if we can take credit for this, but a bit of context. Just whilst Andrew McLean was starting off, we were talking about Lennon Miller, we were talking about young players in general, we were talking about David Watson, and then saying it's been a quieter start to the season for him. He comes on at half time and with his first touch produces a scissor kick in the box to level it for Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock 1, Dundee United 1. How's that for an inspired substitution at the break, Hugh Keevins?
Well, Roger Hanna telling us that the crowd were, if not as vociferous as they are at Tynecastle, they were getting restive with regard to Kilmarnock, and Derek McInnes really needed that goal. And after Lennon Miller, Watson is the next big talent in the country.
Terrific impact. You got to say Derek probably wasn't too happy at half time. Few choice words, decided to change. Obviously one position, brought on young Watson, bit of energy in the team. Terrific talent, you've got to say. And it's a great second half start for Kilmarnock.
And the question is, why didn't you start with him?
Well, I suppose the market is good for him as well, because if you win the Young Player of the Year last season and you stay at the same club, logic would suggest you're going to go on and have a more prominent role in the next season. But that's not really happened yet, and he has been in and out the team. So important for him when he gets a chance like that to come up with something.
Well, he started well. He scored in the European game right at the start of the season, but then been a wee bit of a barren spell, in and out the side, like you say. When you're put on at half time, you're probably sitting there with a petted lip a wee bit, thinking, I should be playing here, I need to go and make an impact. And what an impact he's made. The boy's definitely got ability. I've seen him representing Scotland. We all saw what he did for Kilmarnock and some of the goals he scored last season. Terrific talent, but he really needs to establish himself back in that first team. And Hugh's right, Derek McInnes needed it, but credit to the manager. Again, he recognised what he needs. He made the change, got the rewards.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if you look along the MA, I think that Hearts, Liam Fox will be looking for the same impact in the second half to try and turn that around. But Hearts and Kilmarnock both need something today. They both need 3 points.
There's a big goal in the Championship early on in the second half. Oh wow, hold on right quickly. Hamilton Accies 1, Partick Thistle 0. It's all kicking off at Motherwell. We've only just started. Penalty St Mirren, red card Motherwell. So must be the old Dogzo denying obvious goal scoring opportunity. Blocked by an arm.
A save. We very rarely see those
on the goal line. Yeah, but remember that then has to be considered sort of properly deliberate now to be a sending off.
Okay. Remember the one at Ibrox? Was that last
I was going to say there is going to be a VAR check on this, because that did change a bit in the summer, and you're right. So remember Joe Wright on the line at Ibrox last season. He was sent off. That is now going to be, that now would be a yellow card according to Willie Collum and the referees this season. It has to be the proper, made a save sort of thing. I would be, Dan Casey's claiming it hits his chest. But Lloyd Wilson with the red card, which is a surprise, because like we said, the understanding I had from the start of the season was that those would now be reserved for the ones where the player's on the line and he saves it basically, rather than it sort of hits them. So it's a very interesting call from Lloyd Wilson.
Well, VAR's there to help him, so he can take a deep breath and make the right decision.
And that's before we even get to whether it does hit the arm or not. So I'll tell you what, Lloyd Wilson, a relatively young and experienced ref at this level, he's not had it easy today. He's had so much of those, or so many of those complex ones. Decision stands and off he goes, Dan Casey. So penalty St Mirren and Motherwell down to 10. So this could be a real pivotal moment in this one.
O'Hara to take it. I think he's
against his former team.
Yeah, and he's usually deadly.
Yeah, I mean, if you saved it close to the goal, then maybe it is not too much of a surprise. I think he maybe kind of dives towards the ball as well with the arms up.
Yeah, what we're seeing coming in the phone there is he's unlucky it hits his gloves. But
I'm not saying you think it's a penalty. There's no doubt. A sending off, if that is the rule,
because again,
that
if we're
read,
talking about proximity and what you're kind of meant to do with your arms.
Yeah, if I'm a defender, I can do nothing else with my arms if it's that close to me.
I think that's deliberate.
Yeah,
I do.
Aston Oxborough saves the penalty.
Game
he's been in terrific form. His save at the end of the first half was unbelievable, and he's dived low to his right to save the penalty, and it stays Motherwell 2, St Mirren 1. A stuttered run up from Mark O'Hara against his former team, saved by Aston Oxborough, but Motherwell are down to 10 men. That does stand.
What a lively afternoon. Every ground, all the excitement you could wish for, all the games in the balance. Motherwell are 2-1 up, but down to 10 men playing 11. Kilmarnock at 1-1 against Dundee United in the balance. Ross County 1 up on Hearts, but it's still in the balance at Tynecastle, and 2-1 Aberdeen at Dundee, but still in the balance.
Let's do the second half teaser before we get any further down the line. Let's do it right now.
I may be wrong, but I think this is a tough one. I have won all 3 major trophies in Scotland, and I have over 50 caps for my country. I scored in a Champions League game against a team who went on to the final that year. The year after I left Scotland, I won the English Championship. Who am I? So, won all 3 major trophies in this country, have over 50 caps for my country, scored in a Champions League game against a team who went on to the final that year, and the year after I left Scotland, I won the English Championship. Who am I?
Oh, that is tricky. That is, I like it, because you lot have been making our questions look so simple in the last couple of weeks. You've been absolutely smashing them. So let's see what you can come up with here at Clyde SSB. One name, send it over. It is a race at Clyde SSB. Action-packed game at Fir Park. Motherwell have done that change that you would expect. Although Lloyd Wilson's got his finger to his ear again. I don't know what he's seen this time. But Moses Abie, there's always someone sacrificed. And it's Kofi Balmer who has come on.
Yeah, Motherwell, they've got the advantage, Gordon. It's going to be a long second half, because you'd imagine St Mirren will dictate play, but they'll just sit in, they'll make it difficult, and it's up to St Mirren to break them down. They hope to maybe, if they could get another goal, Motherwell in the counter maybe, or a set play, but it's going to be a difficult second half, especially with only 6-7 minutes on the clock, down to 10 men. It'll be interesting to see how this finishes.
Yeah, that was for another check. It was a alleged handball, I think against Paul McGinn, maybe Lennon Miller, but I think the hand was sort of by the side, and on it goes, that one. Lloyd Wilson has had a busy afternoon.
Certainly has.
Well, you had a premonition there about how late Andrew McLean might finish today, and it's headed that way.
I'll probably see Andrew on the way home. I'll meet him in Airbold Road.
Come up to yours for dinner.
He can come up to mine's for dinner. Steak tonight, Andrew.
Is it?
Yeah, half each.
Oh, someone's doing alright for himself.
Yeah, a Saturday night steak. Yes, I'll half it with Andrew.
What's your technique for cooking?
I put the smoke alarms off, because and then I put it in 2 minutes.
Just as hot a pan as you can.
Yeah, like the restaurants, and then I just put it in tin foil, rest it, make the rest of my stuff, and then
a bit of peppercorn.
A wee bit of peppercorn, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So
put a lot of thought into that.
And a nice salad beside it, and a little bit of potato. Beautiful.
So enough for Andrew McLean is what you're.
Oh, we can share.
Us.
Listen, I'm not greedy. Don't get in this shape being greedy.
What are your prices like?
No, it's a freebie like you got today. It's all free.
What is the score at the bridge for the grandkids
4-2 Chelsea.
Lennon Miller trying for the hat-trick, even though Motherwell are down to 10 men. Snapshot hits it wide. That would be quite a story. He keeps stepping it up, doesn't he, week by week, giving you another reason to
run of games. Gordon, he's getting a run of games. He's so popular in the team. Everybody likes the lad. He works hard for the team. He's a terrific talent, and I think he'll just get better and better. And to that as well, he's adding goals, which makes people stand up and watch him.
He's not the only teenager at the double today. David Watson again, a late run into the box and a close range finish. What a substitution that is.
I keep coming back to it. Why wasn't he playing from the start?
Because there was a game plan.
Game plan to bring him on.
1-0 down at half time. Put him on, scored 2. 2-1. The Kelly faithful are happy just now.
Derek will have his reasons for him not being involved as much as we all thought he would be. So it's up to the kid then to react, and he certainly has done that this afternoon. He'll be in the starting lineup next week. That's for sure.
You'd like to think so.
If you hold on to that scoreline and turn it into result, it's a turn the corner moment for Derek McInnes, and he can thank Master Watson.
Yeah, it's an interesting afternoon for him on at the break. And let's be honest, as good as he is, he's not even necessarily a goal scorer, Mark. It's not like he's a number 9, David Watson. He's come on at half time and he's got 2 before we've reached 4:20 on a Saturday afternoon. So well done to him. Sounds like an excellent impact. Lennon Miller dragging one wide there, looking for that hat-trick as well. If one of them or both of them even could get a hat-trick, that would be quite something.
I think for both of them, actually, what they do very well is the two of them, for any young midfielders watching these young midfielders, they take the risk of getting forward. So the incredible levels of fitness to get into the box, to have these opportunities. You know, they don't just sit there and pass it sideways. They see the opportunities, and they're very good technically as well. That adds to the goals that Miller and Watson have scored since they've broken into the first team. But two rising stars.
Could be a long afternoon though, Gordon, for Motherwell. Down to 10 men. They know that St Mirren are really going to come at them.
Of course they will, with that one man advantage. But it's up to Motherwell to sit in there, defend, and as you've seen with Miller, they've still got an opportunity to score. Could come from a set play. You look at the best teams going about. You look at Arsenal last week against Man City, sat in, then all of a sudden took the lead and put them under pressure with 10 men. So there's still a lot of football to be played, and it's up to St Mirren to go and break Motherwell down. But at this moment in time, as long as you've got something to hang on to, and Motherwell have got 3 points just now to hang on to. It's just if they can hang on to the end of the game.
At this rate,
I'll probably be 6 o'clock tonight.
Andrew McLean will be coming to you for his Christmas dinner.
Andrew's more than welcome. He's a nice fella, Andrew. I've got a lot of time for him.
Okay, it's a bit much. I mean, I don't disagree, but it just feels like a bit much.
He's been like it this year. Hands out compliments just when you don't expect it, and you always think there's another.
Andrew McLean
reason.
has actually been in touch to say there is not a chance he would step foot in your flat on a Saturday night.
You'd be having good company. Tell him I'll share.
Anyway, he's at Motherwell 2, St Mirren 1
each.
currently. So it's been a cracking game, that one. And similar scoreline: Kilmarnock 2, Dundee United 1. Dundee pulling themselves back into it. Aberdeen still 2-1 up in that one, and Hearts losing at home to Ross County, Hugh.
Yeah, and the clock is ticking in more ways than one. A defeat, a 9th defeat in a row, would be totally unacceptable to the Hearts following. It turns up the heat. All your logarithms and your databases and your analytics, you better.
A logarithm, I like that.
You better get them. What is it? An algorithm? What is it?
That'll do.
Whatever it is, you'd better get it in motion, because the club at the moment. I mean, 9
sure, that's
defeats
got
in a
to
row.
put pressure on you. See if they lost today, Kilmarnock won, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's still a long way to go. Would that put pressure on them to go and get the manager as quickly as possible?
Well,
I think they've still got that international break.
Yeah. But at the moment, the club's in a mess. You know, the on the park, and when it's on a mess, in a mess on the park, then that affects everything about the club.
Ayr United 1, Morton 0. Scott Brown may well have been on track to be the new St Johnstone manager, not anymore apparently, and he has watched his Ayr United side take a lead against Morton thanks to a Jay Henderson penalty. Did you hear or read Brendan Rodgers on that topic yesterday? He was asked about it at length. It was really strange, because I suppose when you go to a Celtic press conference at the moment, everyone's kind of fit apart from Carter Vickers. So once that was out the way, they're just winning all the time.
Yeah.
He's not ready to talk about Dortmund yet because it's too far out. So there wasn't that much going on. So all of a sudden there became a Scott Brown section.
Yeah.
And he was asked about whether he had spoken to Scott Brown and whether he had given some advice about what to do with the St Johnstone job. And reading between the lines, it sounded like Brendan had put him off the idea, but he would say he was just there as a sounding board.
A terrific and long-running connection between the two, because when Brendan came into Celtic the first time around, the first thing he did was get Scott Brown on his own to discuss the whole club and where Brown saw himself and everything about the club. So I think, like the great Jock Stein, when he was Celtic manager, he enjoyed the kind of godfather role where people would come to him for advice. And I can well imagine that Scott Brown has consulted Brendan Rodgers and what do you think?
He'd be silly not to, Hugh. Of course he would be. He'd got a great relationship with the Celtic manager. Of course he would have picked the phone up, had a chat, spoke to him about it, because it was a big decision.
I'm not being funny, but why would you? Why, if you're Scott Brown?
Because
you're your own man, you surely know Scottish football.
I just,
why would you phone Brendan
it's like
Rodgers?
Everything else. I just think you like to hear
any walk of life
a
taking
different
advice
opinion,
from people that know a lot about these things would be
What does Brendan Rodgers know about St John's?
Hold on.
management.
I don't
Scott's a manager.
I don't think Brendan Rodgers would have said to Scott Brown, don't take St John's. What I think he would have done was said, look, in my opinion, as a young manager come forward, here's the positives, here's the negatives. You go and look at it, you go and make up your own mind, see where you want to go. And I like to hear a different voice. It's like if you do a coaching course thing and you like to see
if you'd picked up the phone to him a few times at Brecon, he could have
helped
helped you out.
Yeah, you would never.
I don't buy into that Scott Brown phones Brendan Rodgers to say, do you think I should take this?
No,
St.
I
John's?
don't think it's not
that.
It's no one's saying it's that. It's just
well, you come with me as my assistant.
How many players over the years say they pick up the phone to Sir Alex and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, we've got what a game this is. A really amazing second half turnaround. It's Killie 3, Dundee United 1. Marley Watkins header on the rebound after the ball hit the bar, and St Mirren are down to 10 men because Scott Tanser has been shown a second yellow for a challenge on Stephen O'Donnell. What an afternoon of association football we are having, Hugh Keevins.
Well, I said that Kilmarnock potentially a turn the corner moment, and it looks very much like it now. 3-1 up. It would take them above St Johnstone, who have to play Celtic. You would not put money on St Johnstone getting anything out of that game. So it's a turn the corner moment, and well done to them, because it couldn't have been easy. 1 down at half time, crowd getting anxious, and they have come back and then some.
Stephen Robinson cannot believe that Scott Tanser's been sent off for that second yellow. I don't know what it is about St Mirren. They're the common denominator in the chaos games at the moment, because obviously Kilmarnock a couple of weeks ago, and this has been similar with reds both sides, penalties both teams. It's been absolute carnage for Lloyd Wilson at Fir Park.
Sure, an interesting afternoon, isn't he, the referee?
Going to need to get a new pencil. I mean, by all accounts, I think it is a very soft decision. From what we're hearing, I think a real soft one. So I think Stephen Robinson might be vindicated in his complaints. And of course, with it being
you can't go to VAR,
with it being the second yellow, it can't be overturned.
Well, here's the thing. I was going to pick something up with you earlier about the review panel when it comes out. And Wayne Rooney a couple of weeks ago, the review panel says
Wayne
that
Rooney.
should.
Who?
Oh, sorry,
Rooney,
Sean Rooney. Sorry, Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney.
Mickey.
By the way,
Wee
Wayne
Mickey.
Rooney plays for my under 18 team, Partick. But and the review panel says it should have been looked at, but then the time expired. Did you not say that's why they couldn't look at it or couldn't retrospectively deal with it?
They're in two entirely different things. So the review panel is more for transparency, all these types of things, accountability, just trying to explain things. I think that, they do it down in England. They do a similar one. It's just so people can get an acknowledgement of.
So that's just for the public. That's not for
what you're thinking about is, could the compliance officer, remember him? You don't hear so much anymore because of VAR. It's inevitable you won't hear as much. But technically, the compliance officer still could have had a look at Sean Rooney, and usually it's by the Tuesday of that week that you find out about it. So it's almost like we are being bombarded with information, and it's become a bit too much. But those are entirely different things. That review panel is just. That's not about retrospective punishment.
Okay.
Because they'll always come out on I think it's like the Friday.
Yeah.
After the games have been on the Saturday or whatever. So yeah, two separate things. But anyway, I think if I know Stephen Robinson, as we think we do on here, he is going to be furious. about that second yellow card showing to Scott Tanzer. He might even feel he's got a case for Lennon Miller's goal not standing because it hit his hand, but was it high on the arm or not?
He's had a difficult week in more ways than one, Stephen Robinson. And if it is a 2-1 win for Motherwell, his post-match press conference will be the most fiery one of all from this afternoon. And I include Tynecastle, where the clock is ticking and Hearts still haven't pulled back the 1-goal deficit.
By the way, we still 1-0 at Wraith against Falkirk. Are we looking at Falkirk's first league defeat in how many?
44 this will be, I think, something like that. 44 games, maybe. It's around about that anyway.
Monumental.
Here's someone who might come on and just shake things up as if it's not been crazy enough at Fir Park. Kevin Van Veen.
Yes.
Getting ready to come on for St Mirren. What a story that would be if he was the man to rescue something here, or even inspire them to a win, because remember, it's 10 men apiece at Fir Park.
If he scores, do you think he celebrates?
Yes.
Yep. Louis Mould didn't.
Yeah, I know. I think they're different characters.
Oh, I'd celebrate. I'd be right over to that lot.
When was it the last time he came on?
He came on at for Kilmarnock, did they not, last season? And did he not get booed? And then he got booked and stuff, and it was all a bit frantic. I think he did last season. But anyway, he's about to come on for St Mirren. We think Jan Danda, who has also come on for Hearts, has had a shot from range just wide.
So you drop all the players that you signed, and then you turn to them and say, "Can you pull us out of a hole here?"
To be fair, they've not. It's not. I think this stuff about being dropped is maybe overstated. It's not like they've all been starting all over the time, and then have all been. Yeah, we've said it. The whole point is they've not been able to start Jan Danda every game or Blair Spittle every game. They have been struggling how to integrate him. He does applaud the Mallow fans, Van Veen, and they applaud back. The odd boo, just to mix things up, but generally a fairly friendly reception. Remind us of your teaser. We're about to get team news from Celtic's trip to McDermott Park, but give us your teaser first, Hugh.
I have won all 3 major trophies in Scotland, and I have over 50 caps for my country. I scored in a Champions League game against a team who went on to the final that year. The year after I left Scotland, I won the English Championship. Who am I?
No right answers. None.
Thought it might be that way.
0. A great question, clearly. David thinks it's Kayal.
Beram Kayal, it is not.
Dolly Benga thinks it's Sean Maloney.
Dolly, no.
Marky Boy thinks Scott McDonald. No, there are. I can see a correct answer. Anyway, it's not Scott McDonald, is it?
No, not Skippy.
Alan Bowman thinks it is Stefan Johansson.
No.
Graham R83 thinks it's 2 guy.
No, not even 1 guy.
A few of you are getting this right now. And Mitch wants to go for Joe Ledley.
Well, no.
Oh, go Marky.
Okay.
Go Marky.
No.
Oh, unlucky.
Who did you say?
Steve McManus.
Who did he win the championship with?
I thought he went to Middlesbrough, didn't he? But I wondered.
Right, let's go to Perth, because some interesting team news from Gabriel there.
Good afternoon from McDermott Park here ahead of St Johnstone against Celtic. And yes, we've just heard the team news out of the Celtic changing room. 7 changes from the 5-2 win over Falkirk in the Cup last week. Only Schmeichel, Trusty, McGregor and Bernardo keep their place in the team. And apart from Cameron Carter-Vickers, who misses out as he manages his injury, this looks like a full strength 11 from Brendan Rodgers. So it will be Kasper Schmeichel in goal, a defence of Alistair Johnson, Austin Trusty, Liam Scales and Greg Taylor. It's a midfield 3 of Callum McGregor, Paolo Bernardo and Arne Engels. Nicholas Kuhn, Kyogo and Dyson Maeda are up top. The substitutes: Sinisalo, Ida, Bae, Yang, Nawrotsky, Hatate, McCowan, Forrest and Ralston.
Brendan Rodgers has learned his lesson. Never mind messing about with the squad. Get the big guns on. Obviously Trusty has to play in light of Cameron Carter-Vickers' injury. He's a £6 million player and he has to start proving it. So Brendan Rodgers going for the best available to him, because he needs, first and foremost, he needs to win. Secondly, he needs to get momentum built up for Borussia Dortmund on Tuesday, and you do not want to go to face Dortmund, having made a mess of the domestic fixture immediately before?
Well, I think it's a sensible team, and it's gone back to my kind of point about Hearts this season and all the rotation with European football. You play your best and strongest team, and the bigger squad then comes into play as the season progresses. I think Brendan Rodgers was right to change things up last week, and he got the result. That was all important, but he knows the scale of the challenge that awaits him tonight. Get your strongest team on there, get the job done within an hour, and then you can take some of them off if that's the case. I think it's a sensible option from Brendan Rodgers tonight.
Yeah, I agree with the lads. I think they're right. I think the Brendans went up there and looked and thought, right, I'll concentrate on tonight and then look at what's happening in the Champions League midweek. Gets more minutes into the guys' legs. Remember, it's early season as well. The only thing you want to do is try and get the game won early, which I think Celtic are well capable of. And then you turn round to that bench and you've got quality players to replace whatever you want in the starting 11.
Hatate, though, on the bench for Paulo Bernardo with Tuesday in mind's interesting, Hugh, because there was a bit of debate heading into the Bratislava game. He played ever so well, and Celtic won 5-1. He stood up that night to show that he's still very much the man for the big occasion. But I wonder what that means this week.
One or two fans, and Scott Allen even made a contribution to the debate last night on Super Scoreboard, have questioned Hatate's attitude this season. Looks distracted in some games. Had a poor game against Falkirk in the Premier Sports Cup. He is undoubtedly a top class football player, but Bernardo is showing a better attitude at the moment, and maybe it's the case that Bernardo is there to get in about the muck and nettles in Perth and get Celtic a result, and Hatate is being saved for the Westfalenstadion. Or maybe Brendan Rodgers is looking and thinking, Paulo Bernardo is giving me more right now.
I know what the lads are saying. I think it's a wee bit unfair to say that it's a case of who's got the best attitude. I think the two of them will get terrific attitudes. I think Bernardo is
Hatate works his socks off,
doesn't
he?
I think in the Champions League game, Gordon, and we had the debate the night before, or was it on the night, talking about who will he play. That's that one decision. He went for Hatate, and Hatate was very, very good, you've got to say. I don't know, he's just mixed up middle of the park. He'll maybe want to see the sort of a blend with those three, and there's three quality players in there, and he's got Hatate to come on off the bench, and then it's up to what he's got to do midweek. But I'm not going for who's got the best attitude. I think it's just rotation, and Hatate misses out tonight.
3 Motherwell subs: Stamatolopoulos, Tony Watt and Marvin Caletta all coming on for Zach Robinson, Stephen O'Donnell and Andy Halliday. So a triple change from Motherwell, down to 10 men, but so are St Mirren.
Yeah, on the Hatate one, I have to go with Daz in that. I think Hatate's been fine this season. I think he's performed well in a lot of games, even in that Falkirk game. That, you know, it's his reverse pass into Valley for the Bernardo's goal, you know, to lay off. So I think he's an incredible player. But I think it's just Brendan Rodgers has got a choice between two very good players, like Daz says, and Bernardo might fit the plan better this evening, and Hatate will have a role to play. But it's a great headache to have when you've got two players like that. Plus you've got Engels, who looks to have cemented that other place early on in the Celtic.
And then an important day, Hugh, for Austin Trusty, because if he is going to be needed in Germany on Tuesday, then it makes sense, obviously, to try and benefit from game time today.
I know that we can in this country be the knee-jerk reaction capital of the world, and I know that I have form for that as well. But there's no doubt that Trusty has to play well today to encourage Brendan Rodgers and the fans to believe that if he's required against Borussia Dortmund on Tuesday, he will be up to the task. He's a £6 million player. I get tired of people saying, "Oh, he needs time to do this." Not just Trusty. Any player who costs that amount of money, he needs to bed in, needs to do that. You pay £6 million for someone because you believe that he has the full package, and the full package is good to go.
But at the same time, you said last season that you didn't think Nicholas Kuhn was any good, and now he is. So players do need time to bed in.
That doesn't suit my argument.
I didn't think it would. Just again, look, those are the headline acts about Bernardo, for instance, and we knew Trusty would play, and other than that, it's the strongest team. Just a very small thing on the benchmark, maybe a clue as to the pecking order now. Unless I'm mistaken, I don't think he's injured. Stephen Welsh is not the backup centre back on the bench, and Mike Nawrocki is.
Yeah.
It felt like there was a time last season when that was maybe the other way around.
Certainly was. And Stephen Welsh, I thought, always done well when he came in, but Nawrocki, been injury plagued, just couldn't get himself fit. I think there's a player in there, and I've said it all along last season. I think there's something in there, but he's going to find it very difficult to break up Trusty and Carter Vickers and skills.
Welsh did play last week and Nawrocki didn't, so maybe just a sort of
but Welsh
mixing
played,
up.
Welsh played very badly last week.
Yeah, he came under a lot of criticism here. I think Mark's beating the same stick as I was with Bernardo.
Which one? Bernabe.
You might
be
and
right.
he hopes he comes.
You might be right.
But you're right. I think Welsh. I like Welsh. I think he goes in. He's steady. I don't know if he's at that level, but I think he had a poor game last week.
Anyway, Celtic fans, you can tweet us your thoughts. Is that the right team or the wrong team? I think most of you are reckoning that most of that's picked itself really today. I don't think there's loads of debate there, so you can get your thoughts in. Maybe more about what you think it means for Tuesday. Does this mean Hatate's place isn't out for Tuesday, or will he come back in, or does it depend on how it goes today, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, today's got to be Brendan Rodgers' indicator of who's doing what with regard to Tuesday night. Obviously, eyes will be fixed on Austin Trusty. They have to be. £6 million player. Carter Vickers' place in doubt for the game in Germany, so eyes on him. Likewise, Paulo Bernardo. Can he retain his place at the expense of Rio Hatate? I thought it might have been tempting Brendan Rodgers to go with Adam Ida in Perth. But
is Trusty a left-sided player? Is he a left-sided centre back? Did he play there?
Yes.
Yeah, and Scales obviously likes to. They wonder who's got to play the right centre back tonight in the back four.
See about the Bernardo one as well.
Last week, whatever they did last week.
Yeah. That was Welsh last week, was it?
It was Welsh.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
I think with the Bernardo one though, it's a case of managing the player as well. Now Bernardo had to drop out the team when Engels came in after a very good performance against Rangers. If he has to drop out the team after his goal last week, you know what you're saying. You're just a second string player. No matter what you do when you get on the pitch, you're a substitute when the bigger games come around. So I think Brendan Rodgers has maybe looked at that as well and thought, you know, let's keep him in there. He truly deserves it, and Rio Hatate just sits and watches on for now. But like I said, it's a good headache to have when you've got technically gifted players like those two.
Trusty left-sided. Gabriel up there confirming for you. United had the ball in the net, not given offside, usual VAR check, but I think it's going to be a no-goal there. And that game changed on a half-time substitution, really. Kilmarnock sent on David Watson. They were 1-0 down. He scored 2, and they've added a third, and looking very, very good for it at the moment. A bit more tense and tight, you would expect. Oh no, Craig Napier is going to go to the screen at Kilmarnock, but why would that be if it's all about offside? There must be some sort of subjective decision that he has to go over and make. So we'll wait and see what the outcome of that is. Maybe Dundee United have got themselves a second, which would set up a blockbuster finish.
Certainly would.
That's a foul check. It's a check for a foul, sorry, not for offside. So that'll be why.
So
no, it's a check for that. The goal's given. There we go. Let's do it. 3-2, game on. Kilmarnock 3, Dundee United 2. United 1 up at the break. Kelly raced into 3-1 advantage, and now 3-2. I'll tell you what, Roger Hannah has been spoiled for entertainment.
Test a character now for Kilmarnock.
I thought you meant for Roger to keep up with all the goals.
It will be, but when you're sitting second bottom looking for that first win, and what's there left in the clock? 10 minutes, something like that.
Oh, it could
15?
be anything. It's VAR.
Aye.
I'll tell you what I'm surprised at. It's very quiet at Tynecastle.
Yeah,
We've still not heard anything come through from there.
Yeah, to be fair, George Grant's just had a shot to the bottom left corner, saved by Laidlaw. Ross County did come close to a second, by the way. It just came in amongst some of that Celtic team news.
Let's give Ross County
there was
credit as well.
a header off the post. I think the flag went up in the end, But yeah, bit of credit for them.
Yeah,
Those Staggies.
they won today.
They leapfrog St Mirren.
Well, yeah, they will.
Well, they
Craig
showed,
Sibbald, sorry, just to confirm, Craig Sibbald with that Dundee United goal.
Ross County showed tremendous resilience last week. 3-1 down to St Johnstone and got it back to 3-3, which was a real kick in the teeth for Nicky Clark of St Johnstone in particular, having scored 2 immense free kicks. I listened to Roger last Monday in the programme saying that his goal of the weekend was going to be the first free kick, but it turned out to be the second free kick. But that's resilience. When they lost 6-0 to Rangers at Hampden, I thought, well, they could go down. But that's resilience.
Not just that, Hugh, losing to Annan in the Cup.
Yeah.
You know, they got off to a disastrous.
Was it Spartans?
Spartans, sorry, my apologies. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, they're under a little bit of pressure, and Rangers cruised by them, 6 at Hampden. But they've responded brilliantly, you've got to say, from them.
Teaser, Hugh.
Yep. You want to finish it or repeat it?
No, just one last batch of. No, in fact, you know what? It's 4:45 already. Let's just put everyone out their misery. You forget how quickly these second halves go.
I have won all 3 major trophies in Scotland, and I have over 50 caps for my country. I scored in a Champions League game against a team who went on to the final that year, and the year after I left Scotland I won the English Championship. I am Stan Varga.
Stan Varga, well done. Gordon Dalziel and Mark Wilson couldn't get it.
Hold on, he just pulled that name out there.
I know he did. Funny that. I could see him mouthing it to you. Stan Varga, well done if you got it right.
Did Tino win it with Burnley? Was it Burnley who won the championship or Sunderland?
Who did he score against for Celtic?
Oh, I don't know who
exactly.
scored it.
You're miles. Somebody's texting you the answers, and I'm sick of it.
Hold on.
How would you even know Stan Varga?
Let me guess. Let me guess. Here's what you're going to say. My phone's over there.
My phone's over there.
Third place, Donate Michael. Well done to you. Token Jester in the mix, and Scott Connie, we think, pipped it to the post. So well done to the 3 of you. Anyway, getting it right, Stan Varga.
I love how he mouths to me. So this isn't for radio purposes, it's to make me believe that he gets it. So you're trying to fool me, but
so
you don't know.
I'm not trying to
how would you know Stan Varga?
But this is the reason I know he's at it this time, because Stan Varga did not win the championship with Burnley.
Sunderland.
And you don't know. It's easy to say that now.
Because
I've told you that Burnley was wrong.
I said it was either Sunderland or
and
Burnley.
You don't know who he scored against that went
was
on.
A header.
Who was it against?
The opposition.
I don't know.
AC Milan.
Was it AC Milan?
I knew it was an Italian team. I just didn't know.
I think we've caught him this week.
Thanks, Roger.
Brilliant.
Anyway, well done if you got it right. There's still quite a while to go at Fir Park. I think that's due to finish round about Halloween, that one. Because there's been so much going on. But we must be closer in some of the other games. Kilmarnock, can they hold on and win that game 3-2, or will there be a late piece of drama? Can Hearts who would have thought that Hearts equalising would seem like a success at this point in time? But that would be the way that would work. You suspect Aberdeen might hold on, but again, Dundee might have other ideas. Let's get the St Johnstone team, because Gabriel, the Celtic team was published first, hence why we got the away team first. But here we have the Saints.
Yes, we do, Gordon. Interim boss Andy Kirk just making one change from the 3-3 draw up at Ross County last week. Graham Carey comes in for Jason Holt. It'll be 3 at the back. Ross Sinclair in goal. The defence, Lewis Nielsen, Jack Sanders and Kyle Cameron. Trey Wright and Andrew Raymond at the wing backs, with Matt Smith and Sven Sprangler in the middle. Graham Carey, Nicky Clark and Mackenzie Kirk will play the furthest forward. Substitutes: Ray, McPherson, Essel, Kucheriavi, McPake, Kelchins, McChrystal, Franczak and Dare.
Okay, that's Celtic's challengers this afternoon. We expect on paper that is a game Celtic win. They've won 14 games in a row at McDermott Park. Football's not always that simple. Can you see that St Johnstone team causing any issues?
Being honest, no.
Okay,
I don't think so.
Thanks for your input.
I really don't. Just where they are just now, I think they've got problems in the goalkeeping department, and how strong Celtic are, I think they'll struggle this evening against Celtic. I really do.
If they don't struggle, then Celtic are seriously at fault. I mean, that amount of talent on the park, Celtic should win comfortably.
I agree with the guys. I can't see anything apart from a comfortable win for Celtic tonight.
Late winner by the looks of it for Livingston. Livy 2, Airdrie 1. So Rhys McCabe's issues do continue, and it looks like they will be heading for another defeat. Livy 91 on the clock, so they've probably snatched that one.
Do you know what's up? If Hearts don't score, it's a horrible time for them. You know, they've got a long, arduous trip in Europe to play in Minsk, and when they come back, they have to go to Pataudry to a Jimmy Thielen side who, if they hold on to their 2-1 margin at Dens Park, will have gone 12 wins in a row. You would have to have a vivid imagination to see Hearts winning at Pataudry under those circumstances.
Because the big issue is the team's form overall, but if it is a blank again, there's that other Lawrence Shankland, when is he going to score, sort of thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel for Shankland as a goal scorer, especially after the season he had last year.
You're a former goal scorer.
No, I mean him as a goal scorer. I'm not talking. I never talk about myself. But I think that looking at it sums it up for me. Naismith and his backroom staff get removed last week, and a new voice comes into the dressing room, and still the same performance. Sometimes the players have got to take a look at themselves going, there's no doubt they've got talent at Tynecastle, they're just not performing.
Hamilton Accies 1, Partick Thistle 0. It's all over. Your employer is not having a good time of it, Mark.
Not good. That means Hamilton jump above them. I think Queen's Park are winning away at Dunfermline as well. So yeah, not a good day for Thistle.
Another change for St Mirren late on to try and get something here. Greg Kilty on for Mark O'Hara who missed the penalty. It's been a funny game because Stephen Robinson will be justified in having a bit of a pop at Scott Tanser's red card and how he feels it's harsh, but Motherwell did go down to 10 as well, and St Mirren had the penalty and Mark O'Hara missed it, so a level of frustration all round for him, not just with the referee, you would imagine. A few subs, Main, Adewumi and Fraser on for Murray, Larkesh and Braybrook for Dundee as they try and come up with something late on.
Well, it'll be a really impressive one for Jimmy Thielen away at Dens and a decent Dundee side, but these closing moments are going to, test you. It's going to show you what they've got in the locker in terms of character as well.
Yeah, Lyle Cameron's shot beaten away by Dimitar Mitov. It's a bit of everything though for Aberdeen, isn't it? So new manager, you then look at he's not playing today, but Papagay, improving him. But then Mitov, I know it was an obvious one because he was right under your nose, but it's a great piece of recruitment. But it was perfect. Take arguably the best goalie in the league and bring him in and
instantly makes your team better because you've got a trustworthy pair of hands there. But they've been a breath of fresh air this year, and that'll be a great result. He'll value that as much as he has done with the more convincing ones at home that he's had.
Motherwell had the ball in the net, but the whistle had gone a long time before it. Barely counts as a had the ball in the net.
No. Any late drama, Hugh?
No, I think Aberdeen will hold on.
Okay.
I think Kilmarnock will hold on.
3-1, Braves.
I'm not ruling out Hearts equalising.
3-2. Or a St Mirren equaliser.
No, I'm ruling that out.
Are you?
Yeah.
The Bankies are through to the second round of the Scottish Cup.
On the Bankies. I'm a Bankies fan myself, Hugh, as well.
Yeah.
Will we get them down? What fact would you like in the second round draw?
You're doing that
tomorrow evening.
Right. Who have we got in the Bankies?
Just means my Saturday night's ruined. No offence to the Scottish Cup, obviously.
What time's the draw?
Who went through last night?
Broxburn and Tynecastle. So straight away their facts are one of the first teams through on Friday night. So that's two done in the bag.
No,
don't need to think about them. There's too many. You can't get imaginative on.
What's your Bankies? Come on.
Don't know. Hugh Keevins likes them.
Yeah. Nah, you can't come out with that nonsense.
Oh, what a save, Ellery Balcombe. Stamatolopoulos thought he had won it for Motherwell, but a good close range save from Ellery Balcombe. Lawrence Shankland now with a shot saved by Laidlaw as well. Sorry, where were we? The Bankies.
Yep.
A start, Hugh. Give Gordon a start.
Oh, hold on. Goal Hearts. They have equalised right at the death, just when it looked like it would be yet another defeat. I know that celebrating a draw at home to Ross County might show where the bar has fallen to this season, but that is the reality for the Hearts fans. They signalled their intentions a few moments ago. Lawrence Shankland's shot was saved by Ross Laidlaw, and just when they were running out of time, There he is again, Lawrence Shankland. He's
Did he
up
score?
and running for the season.
Delighted
It's taken him
for
a
him.
while, but the pressure lifts ever so slightly off his shoulders. Hearts 1, Ross County 1.
He'll feel over the moon, and I know you shouldn't be celebrating a draw at Tynecastle, especially in your hearts, but just to get that first goal, and it's a very important goal.
Yeah.
You know, Tynecastle will probably be half empty just now. I think
90
the
plus
Hearts,
6.
yeah, Hearts fans have went home, but I think you'll see him starting to grow in confidence again and getting more goals for Hearts.
It's 4 minutes to 5. You don't need me to tell you that. And we are now entering 8 minutes added on at Fir Park. I reckon that's going to be one of the latest ever to finish, in terms of, like, without any, you know, like properly delayed kickoffs or whatever. That is going to be remarkably late for Andrew McLean.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Serves him right.
8 minutes for St Mirren to try and find an equaliser.
But anyway,
It's a long time.
What about that Hearts goal though? I mean, that just buys them time. They remain bottom of the league, but it buys them breathing space, because if you lose, then there's pandemonium at full time and a very miserable weekend and crisis meetings and all the rest of it. But this just, the fact that Shankland scores also helps add to the feeling that this might be a turning point for them. And now they can draw breath, get the new manager sorted out. As I say, 9 defeats in a row would have been
I
crisis.
think that's the new manager's biggest problem. He's got to get away from Hearts relying every time in Shankland. You know, even today, he's not been scoring. He has to come up and produce a goal.
And the full-time whistle has gone there as well. So Hearts have snatched an equaliser at the end. We'll get a report from Dale very soon indeed, once the dust settles. An important point. It does seem strange. It's probably the way the game pans out, Mark. If Hearts go 1-up and County score in the 95th minute, this is not a good news story.
Yeah.
But you know, like we said, the way it pans out sometimes it makes things feel different.
Yeah, puts a bit of a different spin on it. But I think the true Hearts fans will know there are serious issues, and I don't think they've been papered over with that Lawrence Shankland goal. I mean, if you're really looking to take a positive, yeah, Shankland's up and running, but there's so many failures at the club on the pitch, and it goes to show you it's just not always the manager. Those players need to start performing for whoever's in charge. They've got themselves out of hole today, but when you look at that, 2 points out of 21,
18
is it? Is that not their
No, this is their
This is their
seventh.
seventh game.
They've played one more. Yeah,
It is incredible for a club like Hearts.
The positive is, yes, it buys them a bit of breathing space. The negative is, if Aberdeen hold on to what they have, then there are 16 points between Aberdeen and Hearts. I don't think that you can overcome that. Not the way Jimmy Teelan has got the club going at Aberdeen. 16 points. That's the negative side of the story.
Well, unless it changes in the 3 additional minutes in Dundee, because Curtis Main has just forced the save from Dimitar Mitov with a back-heeled effort after Scott Tiffany's cross. But it is still Aberdeen that lead that. We will see how it finishes there. Richard Taylor's just fired over for St Mirren.
I think with Aberdeen win, if it stays that way, you know, it makes an awful lot of other people sit up and take notice. And I think there's a lot of people look forward to them facing Rangers and Celtic just to see how long this can keep going for, if this is really serious. But I think that's a really impressive win if they can hold on for the last few minutes today.
Aberdeen.
This is a paid advert from BetterHelp. The kids have gone back to school recently, but how about going back to school for yourself? As we get older, we sometimes lose that childlike curiosity, don't we? Are there things you've always wanted to learn but just never got round to it? Maybe learning a new language. I've been on that recently, a 200-day streak on Duolingo Spanish, I'll have you know. Maybe you want to become a keen gardener, pick up a musical instrument. I'd love to do that, but not got a musical bone in my body. Well, therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder, because your back to school era can come at any age. And that's where BetterHelp could benefit you. With almost 5,000 therapists in the UK already, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a variety of expertise. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/SSB today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/SSB.
At Barclays, we're here for every goal. We're here for the Premier League. and the Barclays Women's Super League. We're here for the football chants and for giving more girls a chance. We're here for the grassroots and all the muddy boots. From schools to stadiums, we're here for it all. Barclays, here for every goal.
Running a business can feel like you're spinning plates. Isn't that right, Kat?
Tell me about it, Kev. What can I get you today, then? The full works?
Tempting, but let's see what I can offer you. Like the new iPhone 16 Pro, the first iPhone built for Apple Intelligence. Perfect for juggling those business plates.
Looks like you've got a lot on your plate too, Kev.
The best iPhone, available on EE, the UK's best network. BT and EE, better for business.
Apple Intelligence coming December 2024. Best for network performance. Verify at ee.co.uk/claims.
Oh, must be the new parent posse chat. We're not even new. Our kids are 8. Or, as Eddie says, 96 months. He moved off grid. Can confirm he's still on grid. And he's got another one on the way. He won't have the coverage to live stream the birth, will he?
Well, here at Tesco Mobile, we've made sure he has 99% network coverage. So he could if he wanted to.
Oh, sign me up.
It pays to be connected. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps. Over 99% UK population coverage on 4G.
You know, Celtic and Rangers clearly represent the benchmark. What can you do against them? We know what you can do against everybody else in the league, but what about these two? But in the meantime, he's 12 wins in a row.
Dundee United penalty. Right at the end. What an incredible day we have had. And it's Lucas Stevenson who gave away the penalty at Fir Park in quite calamitous circumstances last Friday. He's the one that goes down. The referee points to the spot, and after being comfortably in front, Dundee United, it looked like Kelly were going to win it, but now a penalty. It looks like the assistant that gave it, Craig Napier, was going away, and now a VAR check on it.
No.
Kilmarnock and St Mirren cannot shake VAR drama, can they? It follows them around at the moment.
This is the first time that the open line will hold up the GPX.
Yeah, it's certainly looking that way. 5 o'clock and not one full time. Oh yeah, Hearts is finished, isn't it?
Yep. Hearts is finished.
It's the only one done at 5 o'clock on a Saturday. Change days, it really is. Tense times at Rugby Park though. The VAR check ongoing. Penalty confirmed. So a chance for Dundee United
Who takes the
to snatch a 3-all draw. Louis Moult, I think, is still on.
Oh, will he take them?
I'm trying to think who else early in the season. Ross Graham.
Ross Graham?
No. Ross Graham's taking the penalty kick?
Yep.
Ooh.
Alright, okay.
Apparently so.
I didn't see that one coming.
He scored a couple this season, not penalties I should say. Usually like headers, or he scored from outside the box.
Oh, did you see it?
With the aid of a deflection at Tynecastle.
Oh, wow. Right, okay.
Could be a big moment.
Big pressure.
Foot through it, surely.
I would aim for a corner.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And there we are. What a game. They've equalised. Dundee United. It is 3-all. Kilmarnock 3, Dundee United 3. Unbelievable. What a game it's been.
Incredible. We'll need extra time for Rodgers. Pretty much
full time. Aberdeen, and on they go again. Dave Galloway.
Yeah, it's 12 in a row, 12 wins in a row for Aberdeen now, Gordon. Dundee 1, Aberdeen 2. What a second half performance from Dundee. They did everything but score. Both teams made their intentions clear from the kick-off, keen to play forward passes, and it was open and end to end. Aberdeen went ahead on 14 minutes when the home side didn't deal with the ball upfield. Topi Keskinen was onto it, and he crossed for Kevin Nisbet to score with a calm side-footed finish. But the home side quickly hit back. Zayad Larkesh passed up a decent chance, heading straight at Dimitar Mitov. They were well in the game, getting forward and playing some good stuff, but the clinical visitors made it 2-0 on 31 minutes with a really good solo effort by Topi Keskinen, bursting forward with great pace. Tom McCracken got his hand to the shot, but the ball flew into the net. The D's saw Lyle Cameron's drive from outside the box parried by Dimitar Mitov, but in the 45th minute they deservedly got a goal back. Simon Murray went down under Gavin Malloy's challenge, and Murray dusted himself down to send Mitov the wrong way with his penalty kick. Dundee certainly started on the front foot after the break. Clark Robertson's looping header was touched over by Dimitar Mitov. Scott Tiffany headed Josh Mulligan's crossover, and from a quick break forward, Tiffany's shot across goal was fingertipped behind by Mitov. At the other end, there was little threat from the Dons. Kevin Nisbet headed Jamie McGrath's crossover, and Graham Shinney's cross was just cleared by Antonio Portales, with Leighton Clarkson ready to pounce at the back post. The Dark Blues, for all their possession, had to be said they weren't creating too much in the way of clear-cut openings. Lyle Cameron's shot was beaten away by Dimitar Mitov from Scott Tiffany's cross. A dominant second half from Dundee. In added time, Billy Kumetio headed over from 6 yards. He really had to score, and then just about at the death from a rare threat by Aberdeen in added time. Shot from Bizawin was deflected behind for a corner kick to the Dons. There wasn't enough time to take it. The referee blew his full-time whistle, and you can hear what the huge Aberdeen support think of this. The Dons march on. Dundee 1, Aberdeen 2.
What a game, and what a game at Fir Park. That one's finished as well, Andrew McLean.
Motherwell 2, St Mirren 1, the full-time score. 2 penalties, 2 red cards, 3 goals and 3 points for the home side after a Lennon-Miller double. A completely breathless game here, so much happening. A lovely goal to kick things off 10 minutes in. Elvis Guamono with a cross from the right, floated towards Killian Phillips. He had his back to goal. Really nice cushion touch on the turn, a brilliant volley into the bottom corner to put St Mirren 1-0 up. Motherwell then got the chance to equalise with a penalty. Dan Casey being pulled to the ground by Marcus Fraser while a corner was being whipped in. Lloyd Wilson, the referee, pointed to the spot. Lennon Miller to step up and take never in doubt for the youngster, sending Ellery Balcombe the wrong way to equalise. He then completed the turnaround, Lennon Miller, just before half time. The ball came in from the right. It got a bit of a lucky bounce in the right direction as he tried to get past a couple of St Mirren defenders, but had the composure to guide that one into the bottom corner. There was a VAR check to see whether it hit his hand before he scored, but that goal stood. Then Aston Oxborough kept the score level just before the break. An outstanding stop from close range from a Killian Phillips header. Then a manic start to the second half of the first half drama wasn't enough. This time Dan Casey stopping Killian Phillips' shot from crossing the line with his arm. He sort of dived down to his left. It struck him in the arm. Red card to him. Penalty to St Mirren. Mark O'Hara stepped up to take, started in the run-up, and Oxborough chose the correct way down to his right and saved the spot kick. St Mirren then continued to push for the equaliser with the man advantage, but then that was evened up. Scott Tanser shown a second yellow card for what looked like a complete nothing incident with Stephen O'Donnell. Stephen Robinson on the touchline was understandably livid about that one. St Mirren tried to get that equaliser but just couldn't really create any chances towards the end of the game, and it means that there are big celebrations around Fir Park. Motherwell leapfrogging their opponents and getting all 3 points. A full-time score in a crazy game here. Motherwell 2, St Mirren 1.
If that's not enough drama for you, let's head to Roger Hannah. Kilmarnock against Dundee United.
I'm just having to double check the scoreboard here, Gordon. Kilmarnock 3, Dundee United 3. An incredible game of football at Rugby Park this afternoon. Louis Mould had United ahead in 21 minutes. A sweeping move. Will Ferry starting it on the left hand side. A cross-field pass to his opposite wing back, Lucas Stevenson. He knocked the ball into the 6-yard box, and there was Mould to tap home from close range. Kilmarnock clearly unhappy at the break. Derek McInnes sending on Young Player of the Year David Watson as a replacement for Jack Burrows, and just 2 minutes later with his first touch, Watson equalised. A ball into the box for Danny Armstrong, and he met it with a spectacular scissors kick at the back post for 1-1. That was 2-1. Watson scoring again 11 minutes later, timing his run into the box perfectly to finish with his right foot from Matty Kennedy's pass. And when Marley Watkins headed a third after 64 minutes, a rebound after Robbie Dees had headed against the bar, it looked for all time as if Kilmarnock were going to get a first domestic victory of the season. But United weren't finished. Craig Sibbald wrapped one home from long distance after 79 minutes. Referee Craig Napier initially didn't give it. He spotted a foul in the box, but the VAR official Grant Irvin sent him to the pitchside monitor. Napier had a second look. He decided it wasn't a foul, and Sibbald's goal stood. United then threw absolutely everything at Kilmarnock in a fantastic finish. Kieran O'Hara, 2 spectacular saves in stoppage time, and then in the 99th minute a foul on wing-back Stevenson in the far side of the box. Napier pointed straight to the spot. It was VAR checked. Irvin agreed with Napier it was a spot kick, and then centre half Ross Graham took responsibility from the spot in front of the United fans. He hit it with his left foot, an emphatic finish to send O'Hara the wrong way. It's a deserved point for United. It's a spectacular finish. It's a 6-goal thriller. Kelly still looking for a win in the league this season. Kilmarnock 3, Dundee United 3.
What a day. What a day it's been in the Scottish Premiership, and it's not over yet. St Johnstone Celtic is still to come, but look at the drama everywhere. Goals, red cards, penalties, VAR checks. It had a bit of everything. Aberdeen continue to set the pace. They are top of the table. Of course, Celtic have the chance to respond. It's a good day for Motherwell because they won, and pretty much everyone else round about them then dropped points. So how did you look back on an action-packed day? Tell us right now. 0141 951 1025. We're here to take your calls until 6 o'clock. Where do we start? Motherwell fans, how big a win was that? St Mirren fans, what on earth happened with all the VAR decisions? I take it you're hard done by with the sending off. There was a Motherwell sending off, there was a penalty each, so we can work our way through those. Kilmarnock fans, do you feel happy with a 3-3 draw in the end, or does it feel like you chucked it away? You tell us. Hearts fans, not getting much better, but you did get a point on the board. Celtic fans, is that the right team? Hatate out, Bernardo in. What does that mean for Tuesday night? Is that the right decision from Brendan Rodgers? And Rangers fans, what about you looking ahead to tomorrow as well? 0141 951 1025 right now, please.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Just one full-time story still to bring you. It is at Tynecastle, Hearts against Ross County. Here's Dale Eaton.
Full-time at Tynecastle, and the home side have rescued a 1-1 draw. After a frantic start to the game, it was Hearts who took control. They almost took the lead after Forrest and Shanklin pounced on the rebound of a Kenneth Vargas shot, but play was eventually stopped with the County player down in the scramble. Ross County had been looking to hit Hearts on the break, and it came off perfectly on the 36th minute mark when captain Conor Randall broke through the Hearts midfield. He was dispossessed on the edge of the box, and Ronan Hale pounced on the ball and fired in his 6th goal of the season in all competitions. After a stuttering start to the second half, the Jamboes took firm control, with Ross County camped in their own half for much of the second 45. Barry Mackay came into the game on 57 minutes and sparked the home team into life. He almost made it 1-1 after some neat interplay with Lawrence Shanklin, but the shot was eventually saved. County kept defensively resolute, but it was almost the ghost of Staggy's past to strike a blow as substitute Danda fired one just wide of Ross Laidlaw's right hand post. The away side made one of their few breaks forward through substitutes Brown and Samuel after 73 minutes, but it came to nothing. Jordan White came off in a double substitution in the 86th minutes as the away side packed the midfield and tried to see out the win, but it wasn't to be. Lawrence Shanklin found himself free in the box, and a shot low to Ross Laidlaw's left-hand side was turned wide, and from the corner it was the Hearts talisman who equalised, heading in his first of the season from close range to draw the Jamboes level. The goal wasn't enough to stave off the boos though, as Hearts still remain bottom of the league with 2 points from 7 games. Full time here at Tynecastle, it's Hearts 1, Ross County 1.
There we go. You can give us a call, Hearts fans. It was a bit better obviously, but is that enough for you? You still worried going forward? Motherwell and St Mirren fans, I could just open the lines and let you go, because there was a red card each, a penalty each, all sorts of drama going on there. So how do you look back on it now? Do you need to lie in a darkened room? Give us a call, 0141 951 1025. Celtic fans, what do you make of that team? We've still got time to speak to you before that game kicks off tonight, so it's no real surprise. Austin Trusty was always likely to play in the absence of Cameron Carter-Vickers, and then Paulo Bernardo preferred to rail Hatate. That's the only real talking point you'd have to say. Give us a call. Rangers fans, tomorrow what would you do with your team? You're off the back of Europe, and you're going into Europe again this week. So what do you think ahead of the visit of Hibs to the first game at Ibrox since last season in the Premiership, certainly? But Hugh, if tonight and tomorrow have got even half the drama that we had earlier today, then we're in for a busy week.
Well, 14 goals in total from the matches in the Premiership. Outstanding drama. The finish at Kilmarnock giving Dundee United a penalty, which Ross Graham has scored from. The finish at Tynecastle, which is remarkable. Shankland's first goal of the season. And in the dying embers of the game, he salvages a point. Hearts remain bottom of the table, but it's better than being 9 defeats in a row, because that spells crisis. And now Hearts can get about their business of finding the new manager. I'm not convinced he'll be in place for next weekend, but Shankland's goal buys them breathing space.
Well, I started today by saying I liked the look of a lot of the fixtures, and I wasn't disappointed. Goals and drama everywhere. I thought Aberdeen's win shows that they have got the teeth to stay in the top 3, certainly in the league. Hearts have scraped something, and is that the start of something for them this season? You don't know. And I just wonder if the drama then continues into tonight's game and tomorrow's. You'd find a hard push at McDermott Park. Celtic yet to concede a goal in the league. Only Falkirk able to score against them, and St Johnstone hardly free scoring. So you think that should be a simple affair. And Hibs, can they get their act together and cause Rangers some problems at Ibrox tomorrow?
Great drama today, I've got to say. Great drama. The winners for me, I know Aberdeen, terrific result away from home, keeps that run going. Winners for to me, Motherwell, leapfrog St Mirren and Dundee United. And obviously the big talking point, Shankland back scoring goals, rescues a point for Hearts.
Well, you were the only one that tipped Motherwell to win, I think, at Fir Park, weren't you? So there we go. 01419511025. That is the number that you need. And of course, as always, you can tweet us at Clyde SSB. We'll go back to McDermott Park and get the pre-match build-up there with Gabriel. He's already given the teams, but we can recap them and get a flavour of the build-up there. John's a Celtic fan. How are you, John? Hi John, sorry we lost you there, but we've got you now.
Hi, how you doing, everybody? All right?
Good, thanks. Good. What are you thinking tonight?
I'm glad Bernardo's getting his game in today, because I think he deserves it. The Celtic Rangers game, it was brilliant, and then unfortunately Celtic get dropped for the Bratislava game, but I think the guy deserves his chance tonight. And I know a point you two won't like the two Gordons, but I think it's time Brendan went in and got Lennon Miller at the January transfer window to bring this boy. He'll bring this boy on. This boy, I watched a bit of that game today. That boy's some player going to be.
Do you think Celtic would break their transfer record twice in the space of a couple of months, though, after Arne Engels?
No,
it'd be a big commitment, that. Paulo Bernardo, Mark. I think what we've said in this sort of pecking order, he is obviously he's the next in line. We said that previously. He only dropped out because Arne Engels was signed. That was it. It was no real slight on him. Having said that, he's not the same type of player as Hatate, is he?
No.
So how does that change things today?
I think he gets into forward areas better than Hatate, if that makes sense. I think Hatate maybe links the play better and he's got a better relationship with Greg Taylor. When Hatate plays in the midfield, you see him dropping into that kind of wider area. But Bernardo, technically very good. What Bernardo is good at is if anything drops in and around the area, he's got great technique. And I'm not saying Hatate hasn't, because I'm a big fan of that, but he certainly can hit the target and score some spectacular goals. But again, it's a good argument to have. We all think it's one or the other. Brendan Rodgers is now in a position, he's got Engels, McGregor, Bernardo and Hatate with McCowan in reserve, and John saying he should go and get Lennon Miller to add to that as well, which they may do in January, who knows. But it's an incredibly strong part of their team at the minute, and he can just pick any one of them. He could even leave his captain out and choose one of them to sit in the centre, and you wouldn't have an argument with it.
That's the bit that we probably won't really see, though, isn't it? It feels like it's the others, and then it's early, but maybe even Engels is more likely to stay in there as well. It feels like the others.
Yeah, especially early on in the season, Gordon. I think going into the latter stages of the season, he'll have the opportunity of you know, you might see McGregor sitting out for a game, but not the big important ones. Engels sitting out for a few games. He's a young player. It'll be a long, hard season. But Mark's right. He's got some fantastic players in the middle of the park. Great headache. The talent there. He can mix the three. Hatate misses out. I think Bernardo was very unlucky to miss out in the Rangers game. The game after the Rangers game. And Hatate come in. Hatate in Europe I thought was very, very good. It's just brilliant headache to have. Imagine having that at your disposal, to pick from. I think the hardest thing for Brendan Rodgers is sitting down saying, right, okay, what three do I match today? Because they're all talented players.
It's a fact that he's going to utilise the squad because of the volume of fixtures that Celtic will have. He's got 8 Champions League ties to play, 7 left now, and he's got a league to win. He's got a cup semi-final coming up, and so on and so forth. So it will happen from time to time that Bernardo will play and Hatate will play in another game.
Just quickly on John's suggestion about Lennon Miller, I totally agree with him. Right, I think Celtic should go and sign him and then lend him back to Motherwell and let him play games.
Okay, I could maybe get on board with that.
If I was Lennon Miller,
12 million.
I'd be buying a CD called Parliamo Italiano because we are flavour of the month in that country, and he would fit in there. He could do a McTominay, Gilmore, you name it.
Listen, up to the Claudius for his dinner just now, up the top of the hill from you, he'll be fine. That's as much Italian as he needs as things stand. John, Brendan Rodgers talks about taking this game first and one game at a time sort of thing for him and the players. What's that like though as a fan? You must already be thinking about Dortmund in a way, surely.
Aye, but Brendan's quite right. So he is obviously, this is the bread and butter. I mean, we want to still keep up the momentum in the league, but I watched a bit of the Dortmund game last night, guys, and I know maybe as you alluded to last night, we could be in trouble at the back with Trusty and Scales. We don't know how they're going to play the game. Just hope big CCV's back. But Dortmund are not any great shakes at the back too. That game, so we could be looking at a 4 each on Tuesday night. So we could, so they come back.
Yeah, I noticed that. We said it last night, didn't we? They went 1-0 down when we were still on the show. They went 2-0 down, and I thought, this is the team that then lost 5-1 last weekend. Yeah. But to be fair, last night they did come back and win 4-2.
If Celtic lost 7 goals in consecutive matches, people will be saying, what's gone wrong? So you are entitled to say 7 goals conceded in 2 games. But they are last season's Champions League finalists. They're at home. It's a very daunting prospect for Celtic.
How did you find it, Mark? Were there ever moments Saturday night away in Perth? I wouldn't dream of saying it's not a glamorous venue for football. I'll leave that to other people. Did your mind ever wander slightly?
No.
If it was an Old Trafford round the corner or
no, certainly not. Not when it was coming up. I find it more difficult, and I think players will find it more difficult coming off the back in one of those games where you are going to McDermott Park and it's maybe a bit sparse. I don't think there's any chance that these players tonight will take their eye off the ball, because they all know the leagues are bread and butter. Champions League's brilliant and it brings stature to the club and excitement, but they know a lot of them have been there. Most of them have been there, that when it comes May and you're lifting the trophy, those are the days that you really cherish at the end of your career. So league, bread and butter, get the job done, then they can turn.
But they also know, Mark, that if they're off it, there's someone sitting on the bench waiting to come on and take their place. The quality. So they'll be right up for it tonight. They'll be at it. That team is very, very strong. They're in form. They're terrific going forward, middle to front. I see a very difficult evening.
I think, being honest, that was the fear for me when I had a game or games before Champions League coming up.
Keep your place.
That I would lose my place.
Okay. Yeah. Right, thank you to John. 01419511025. Celtic fans, you can join in on the build up to the game in Perth. Rangers fans, you can look ahead to tomorrow. And what about you, St Mirren, Motherwell, Kilmarnock, Dundee United? Real drama there, so give us your thoughts right now please, and we'll speak to you next.
01419511025. Clyde One Super Scoreboards open line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are just catching their breath after a frantic day of Premiership football, and it's not over yet because Celtic they've headed to St Johnstone and they'll kick off in about 20 minutes time. We've given you the teams. We'll go back there and speak to Gabriel soon. We're asking you, Motherwell fans, St Mirren fans, Kelly fans, whoever else was involved today, Hearts fans, what you made of today's football. St Mirren and Motherwell, I'm trying to figure out who's hard done by here if you think you are. I'm almost certain St Mirren fans, you'll be angry with the second yellow card shown to Scott Tanser. I'm 99% sure of that. Maybe a bit of debate about Dan Casey's, although it does hit his arm on the line. But what does that mean now? Should that still be a straight red card? Maybe you feel Lennon Miller's second goal shouldn't have counted, St Mirren fans. Did it hit him in the arm, or was it above the old t-shirt line? That sort of thing. Get your thoughts in there. Kelly fans, you looked like you were up against it. You then spun it round, and it really, for all intents and purposes, it looked like 3 points in the bag. But then a dramatic equaliser from Dundee United. So again, how frustrating was that? And Hearts fans, are we at the stage where we're celebrating home draws against Ross County, or do you have to take any small victory you can get? It has been quite the afternoon. Just thinking about that league table, and obviously a lot can change over the course of the evening, Gordon, and then on to tomorrow. But it is a result that moves Motherwell up into 4th, level in points with Rangers, so having played the game more.
Yeah, brilliant result. I said that. I thought Aberdeen, obviously going to Dundee, was very, very good result indeed. Difficult game this afternoon, but Motherwell, they climb the league, leapfrog St Mirren, Dundee United, 10v10, a lot of talking points. I've got to say, I was listening to you there, Gordon, about St Mirren fans coming home, listen to Radio. Would they be upset? I've seen Tanser's second yellow. It's the worst decision I've seen for a long, long time.
Oh, it's a big shout from you.
Yeah, terrible. Absolutely
I think both of them are terrible. I would argue for Casey as well. If the rule got changed in the summer,
it's a bit more complex, that one, though, I would say, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, if the rule got changed in the summer to be a yellow card, then what else is he supposed to do? And I know that's not but it's not as if he is outstretched and he's saved it. He's done what a defender would do. He's tried to block it. He's turned away. It's hit his arm. Yes, on the line. It's a penalty kick, no doubt about it. Red card is very harsh, and I agree with Daz on the Tanser one as well. Absolute shocker.
Yeah, I don't think Stephen Robinson will be too impressed, because again, the Lennon Miller one is, those are difficult, because if it hits the arm of a goal scorer in the process of scoring, the goal has to be ruled out. The only thing that would realistically save him is if it's too high up the arm. They talk about this t-shirt line. I've seen it various angles. It's kind of hard to tell. The one from behind the goal, I think Stephen Robinson will use that. I think he'll say that does look like it's below. But maybe those ones are a bit more sort of fine margins.
Yeah, they are fine margins, Gordon. They're all down to obviously the opinion where it hits his, if it is above the in the shoulder area. But looking at it as well, I think Motherwell a bit lucky with that. That's my opinion on it. So I think the referee had a very, very mixed game today.
I'm just looking at the league table. Aberdeen on top. How nostalgic is that for everyone as we approach the 40th anniversary of Aberdeen winning the title and becoming the only team for 4 decades out with Celtic and Rangers to win the title. And here they are top. They won't finish top at the end of the season, or else we will have had one heck of a season. But nostalgic moment for them.
I think the bit that has to give them credit, Mark, is we keep mentioning they've not played Celtic or Rangers, fine, and they have played teams coming off the back of Europe, but it does still feel like if you gave at any other season, at any other time, if you gave Aberdeen or Hearts or Hibs 6 of those opponents and just lined them up and said go win all 6, they wouldn't do it. Yeah. Just call it what you want, balance of probabilities even, or they just would not win those 6. So yes, it's been a touch more gentle, but I don't think it's wise to take too much away from Aberdeen.
You certainly can't, because look, being at Celtic, I knew how hard it was to go on a run like that where you won every single week and you'd get to a certain number and something would happen. You'd have an off day, somebody would let one in and then you'd draw one each or something like that. But to go on that run is incredible, and it is incredible because it's a new manager and coaching team that's came in. It goes to show you the Aberdeen players have bought into everything, and great credit to the players for doing that, because it's not always easy. It's a fantastic start to the season. Let's see how long they can keep it going for.
01419511025, that's the number on the phones. Tweet us at Clyde SSB if you would prefer that. We'll get to Ian in a second, but Hugh was through first. How are you, Hugh?
Good evening, how are we?
Well, you'll be happy with the result as a Motherwell fan, Hugh, but it was quite a lively afternoon, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've just said that there now. I thought the referee had a really, really bad day today. he was very overzealous with the cards early on. We had John Beaton last week, who never produced any yellow cards in the first half. He could have produced 3 or 4. Then we'd won today. I think he just made it about himself today. And I know we won today. I'm really chuffed at one. But I just think he ruined the game a bit. So
let's go through them then in terms of, so the first kind of major one, I don't know, you can pick. What about the Motherwell penalty that was given? So on Dan Casey, kind of hauled to the ground was the accusation, but Stephen Robinson wasn't happy.
Well, it's other side of the park. I sit the Cooper, so it's other side. So we're very limited what we can see in replay. But and again, the VAR, we speak about this every single week. It takes too long for me. Surely you could see it once, 2, 3 times, right? That's it. Then you go look at the additional time. I think it was 8 minutes in the second half, 7 minutes in the first half. You're thinking it's too long for additional time.
Yeah, I think in fairness though, Hugh, the first half there was about 2 or 3 minutes because of that head knock. So I think the VAR stuff was the rest of it.
At the start of it, and you could understand that, but not 7 minutes, Gordon.
No, I know, but I mean, say the VAR is maybe 4 or 5 then, because the head knock was 2 or 3. But anyway, I don't disagree. Obviously, we don't want it to be a bit quicker. You're at the wrong end, Hugh. But Dan Casey, it's a handball on the line.
If it's a handball on the line, but I don't know how it works out. Do they still do this double jeopardy where if it's a goal scoring opportunity, if you get a penalty, you only get a yellow card? I don't know how that is.
Yeah, I mean, not strictly. It's it's a bit of a greyer one. It's like if it just hits his hand, and it's like a handball offence, then it would be a yellow. But if it's like almost like if it's a kind of save that denies a goal scoring opportunity, then he should still get the red. But I think that one will be right in the middle for a lot of people.
Yeah, just to obviously hear your point of view, because obviously you can see more replays than what we can at the game. And your points of view, I mean, Mark was saying there, the things that the two of them are very harsh.
That one's really difficult, Mark, again, right? So like I said, the best example of this, just in terms of the way things have changed, because most people will have seen it, is Joe Wright at Ibrox last season, right? Remember it? So if you come out the tunnel and look left, it's that goal. The ball's fired across. I can't remember who it is that hits the shot, and Joe Wright's on the line and the ball hits his arm and he's sent off, and everybody's thinking, that's really quite frustrating if you're Joe Wright, but that's the rule. That got tweaked in the summer so that if that had been this season, Joe Wright would have received a yellow card. Now, that does not take away from the fact that if the ball's gone in and I dive and I tip the ball away with my hand, and I'm not a goalie, I'm going to be sent off. The Dan Casey one's blasted at him from pretty close.
Very close.
He does sort of fall towards the ball. It looks like he's trying to bring his hands towards his chest, but he doesn't quite get them there either. And then when he falls towards it, it does then kind of look like he's making a save. So I feel like I can see both sides of that one, but it's very close to him.
Again, I am probably seeing it as an ex-player, and what you do in those situations in a split second when the ball's really close to you. There is no way on earth you think, I'm going to get my arm outstretched here. You can quite clearly see that Casey's going to block the ball like a defender would. He's going to ground, and by doing so, byproduct to that is his arms have to come out to the side, because if anybody's fallen, of course your arms come out to the side. So if the rule has changed or they're looking at it in a different way, surely common sense looks at that and thinks, yeah, it's a penalty kick, it stopped the ball getting in the net. But we've changed the rule. He's not done one of these stupid ones where you see defenders jump up and try and kid on that they've headed it away or anything like that. You have to have common sense to see through that. That's where I think the officials have let themselves down.
You're a bit closer, Ian, if I know the Cooper stand. You're a bit closer to the sending off for St Mirren. Can you have a bit of sympathy for them?
Who's Ian?
Hugh, sorry, Ian's on the other line, forgive me.
Come on, Gordon. I don't know about the challenge. I don't know whether it was a strange one for me, because I thought Tony Watt was foul previous to that one. Then he went in, he slid in, and I don't know if he stood on him or by accident or something like that. But I thought it was Tony Watt that was getting the yellow card. Then it wasn't. So I don't know. As I've said, the referee for me today was shocking for both teams today, and you could hear both sets of fans, especially getting frustrated at him. And that's not, don't want to come away from a game like that. I thought it was a good entertaining game for both teams. Keepers had brilliant saves. I thought Oxborough was man of the match for me. I know Lennon Miller got it, but Oxford was outstanding today. So I just thought, I think the referee needs to be questioned on one of Murray's decisions.
Hugh, you've done a Hugh. You've done a me. You came on and said the referee spoiled the game, and now you're saying it was a good, entertaining game.
A bit of both, a bit of madness in there, Hugh.
I'd take Hugh.
All I'm saying is the next VAR review programme that you do with Willie Collum will be longer than Godfather 2.
I was going to say, is it going to be just St Mirren Kelly and then Motherwell St Mirren? I mean, there are other.
Do you know, I can hear arguments for every single one of the cases apart from one for me. Tanzer's yellow card is shocking, ridiculous.
Let's get to the bigger picture though, Hugh. It's another very important win. It's a good win. You're up to 4th in the table, level on points with Rangers. You must be pretty satisfied at this run of results.
Oh, 100%. I says to the guys who I sit with today, Graham and Craig, I says, if we go 1-0 down last season, we're beat, totally defeated last season, and you knew it. But I just think we've got something about us this season, especially defence. The defence is brilliant. Just like bringing Liam Gordon in was an absolute genius stroke. And I think Oxford itself, I know he was with us for a few years, but he's like a new signing for us because we've never ever seen him before. And that was the only thing I questioned Hugh Keevins about. How he never ever got a chance, an opportunity under when Kelly was having poor form, losing goals for us. And his form was bad, and I just couldn't understand. But Oxford just proved a new signing for us. Defence looks really, really assured, which is great to see. And when we get all the players back fit, Stuart Kettlewell has got some headache trying to fit players in there, because the players we've got coming back are really first-team players, first-team starters. So
what about Lennon Miller? It's hard to let you go without asking for your latest assessment on him. 2 goals today.
What more apologies can you give the young man? I've said it before, £4 million, that's for one leg. Then we'll start discussing the other leg. The guy's going to go into massive things. And I predicted when he was 16, 17-year-old, a future Scotland captain. And him and Billy Gilmore in the middle of that Scotland midfield will be phenomenal. With McTominay as well. That's what we've got to look at. Instead of, I think we need to bring him in straight away.
Well, we'll see. There's a squad announced this week. Suspect the 21s, but you never know. Thank you to Hugh. Kick-off in McDermott Park is next.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Just about to kick off in Perth. Let's go back there and speak to Gabriel.
Yes, Gordon, the two captains just leading the sides out here in McDermott Park. Let's quickly run through the teams again, but we'll start with the hosts, of course, managerless. They drew 3-3 at Ross County last weekend. Impressive up in the Highlands, but conceded 2 late goals in the last 10 minutes to drop 2 points. They've not won since the second game of the season, their only victory in the league. They're 10th at the moment. They would take that right now come the end of May. It's Andy Kirk in charge today, the interim boss, just like he was 7 days ago. He's expressed his readiness to take the job permanently. The Perth club, of course, seeking a successor to Craig Levine, who was sacked after a run of 4 straight defeats. Scott Brown seems to be out of the running. The Saints have made an approach for Peter Leven, the Aberdeen assistant, and they've been given permission to speak to him by the Pittodrie side. Now, interestingly, Leven was the man who last stopped Celtic winning a game. Although Celtic did win all the way back in April's Scottish Cup semi-final on penalties, it was 3-3 that day. It just shows you how impressive the Hoops have been over the last 6 months. They've won all 8 games this season. They're yet to concede in the lead. They've been brilliant recently, scored 10 goals across their last 2 matches. And of course, they've got that huge Champions League game on Tuesday night. They head to the famous Yellow Wall in Dortmund. Let's start with the Celtic team then. 7 changes from that comeback win against Falkirk last week. Only Schmeichel, Trusty, McGregor and Bernardo keep their place. Cameron Carter-Vickers misses out through injury. Reo Hatate, perhaps surprisingly for some Celtic fans, drops to the bench. Team is as follows: Kasper Schmeichel in goal, Alistair Johnston's at right back, Austin Trusty looks like he's going to play on the right hand side of the fence with Liam Scales on the left. Greg Taylor will be left back. McGregor, Bernardo and Engels in midfield. It's Kuhn, Kyogo and Dazen Maeda up top. Only 1 change For the hosts, it's Ross Sinclair in goal. A defence of Lewis Nielsen, Jack Sanders and Kyle Cameron. Trey Wright and Andre Raymond are the wing-backs. Matt Smith and Sven Sprangler in the middle. Graham Carey, Nicky Clark and Mackenzie Kirk, the front three. Don Robertson is the referee here, Gordon. VAR will be Alan Muir. Arne Engels just standing over the ball in the centre spot at the moment. Celtic fans packing out both stands behind the goal. Aberdeen, somewhat surprisingly, on top of the league at the moment. They've been flawless so far this season, but so have Celtic. It's up to them now to retake their place at the summit. And we are underway at McDermott Park.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get your essential medicines and vaccines before you head off on holiday.
Pathetic performance from you three, quite frankly, on the ACA earlier on. How is this game in Perth going to go tonight?
3-0 Celtic.
Oh, I was going to say similar, but just to be different, I'll go 4-0.
Well, I may as well just go down one, go two.
Right, okay.
I don't think it'll be 5.
Not much optimism for St Johnston's chances then, shall we say.
Well, I mean, you look at the talent. You can't go on about Celtic having the best squad and the record signing and Brendan Rodgers saying it's the most ready they have ever been for the Champions League, and then think there might be some element of doubt about beating St Johnstone.
Just sometimes, Mark, you know, these away venues, and it's a bit trickier, but I mean, it's 14 consecutive wins at McDermott Park. That's an outstanding run.
Yep.
It is the venue that 9 months ago Brendan Rodgers said at half-time it was the angriest he had ever been as a manager.
I remember, I was there, yeah.
But yeah, things have changed a bit since then.
Well, remember that first 45? It was brutal from a Celtic point of view, and St Johnstone score from a set piece, I believe, but they had another couple of chances in that first 45 and they could have been further ahead. He made changes and he got a different performance. Celtic will need to be much better in the first 45 to get the job done quickly.
It's not 1-1 with about 10 to go or something. I think they scored twice.
I think so, yeah. And
Matt O'Reilly,
yep, right footed into top corner,
amongst other things. It's all generally, Gordon, it feels like, and we kind of saw it even with Rangers in Europe. I wish our analysis was a bit more cutting edge, but it feels like the key is always just to try and score early, and it just puts a totally different feel on it. Now, Celtic have a lot of quality, so if they've got adversity like they did against Falkirk, it's not to say they can't come back. They don't have to score early, but you get the feeling that when they start quick, there is no catching them in these games.
No, because what it does is, obviously, St Johnstone, you can see their game plan. They're sitting very deep. They're letting Celtic have the ball at the back. Now, if you score early, all of a sudden you've got a choice to make, especially if you're a coach. Did you change that game plan? Because Celtic will just come after you and score more goals. So it puts the opposition on the back. An early goal puts opposition on the back foot.
Yeah, and Mark, how long can you do it for? Because I feel like in the Scottish Premiership we've come away from it a fraction where teams just sit the full way back for the 90 because they accept that they can't, but it does look like St Johnstone might give it a bit of a go.
Well, I think it's obviously a dangerous tactic because Celtic have got so many willing forward runners, and you just see it there early on. Was it Alistair Johnson, and just couldn't play it inside, so it's hard to do. You leave yourself too much to do, in my opinion. But otherwise you come out and you try and go toe to toe. Celtic have got the quality just to pick you off, so you're in between a rock and a hard place.
And if you lose an early goal, if you're St Johnstone, you tend to lose a bit of belief because you're thinking we'll need to score 2 to win this game and still only concede 1. So the early goal is so important for St Johnstone. Keep yourself in this game as long as you can, but I just feel that Celtic will have far too much
on the first 3.5 minutes. Celtic must have had the ball in the St Johnstone box 4 or 5 times, so there's a line between sitting back and then winning possession and keeping it and having a threat going forward, or just booting it back to Celtic centre halves who are 10 yards inside your half and coming time and time again. It's almost like you're just waiting for a goal to come, so they have to be better in possession.
Brilliant defending though from Andre Raymond, just takes it off Nicholas Kuhn when he tried to go round him. Arne Engels a moment or two ago put an inviting ball into the box but couldn't find a teammate. Dyson Maida's in here, and it's an important take from the St Johnstone keeper. If he didn't get it, Kyogo knocks that into an empty net, no problem. and Celtic are up and running, but it was a flighted ball over the top from Callum McGregor.
He's offside, I think.
Maeda probably would have been offside, but the flag I don't think went up initially. He poked it back across, but the keeper saved.
Yeah, it's those forward runners for Celtic, and it's just a reminder for the St Johnstone defence and Maeda quite early into the game. Just a reminder saying, I'm going to run in behind you all day. So
let's let that one bubble away. In fact, he could be in a bit of bother there. I know it's an accident, but I think he'll probably be booked. Oh, it's not even a free kick.
Not a foul, even.
Okay, never mind then. It was that classic one where Kuhn was running in behind, and it looked like Raymond totally accidentally clipped his heels, but
nevertheless,
I mean, it kind of has to be, I think.
Yeah, the ball's in behind Raymond.
Oh, that's a free kick. Surely a free kick.
The referee has made already in 5 minutes. He's made some very strange decisions.
Anyway, let's hear a bit from Stephen Robinson, shall we? He saw his team go down to 10 men. They missed a penalty. They got beat at his old team Motherwell. Sorry.
Stephen, where do you want to start with that? It was a day full of drama.
Yeah, only the bits I can control is only bits I'll talk about. Is we should have scored a lot more goals. We had a lot of chances. The goalkeeper makes a terrific save from Killian. I thought our performance was excellent at times, especially when we had 11 men on the pitch. We were probably disappointed when we went 10v10. We didn't create enough at 10v10. Made multiple changes, maybe didn't get that effect to try and get the width and get more balls into the box. So that I can control, the rest I can't.
What did you make of the red card?
I haven't seen it back yet.
You seemed quite upset at the time. You didn't feel at the time that it looked like it should have been a second yellow?
You were asking me the question because obviously you believe that as well. So listen, I can't affect what the decisions are. I can't affect them. If they affected the game, then that's out with my control. I can only affect us. I thought our performance, some of our patterns, some of our creativity, our deliveries from set plays, or defending from set plays, which we've worked tirelessly on. There's a lot of positives. Managers get stick for sticking up for players. But I thought our performance was very, very good today. So I'll take all the criticism. It needs to come my way for that, because if we keep playing like that, we'll win football matches.
St Johnstone had a ball in behind. Austin Trusty showing the pace that I think Brendan Rodgers liked about him when he signed him. A very, very impressive recovery run, and it doesn't come to much. Celtic got the other end, but again it's snuffed out. Stephen Robinson, desperate Hugh, I think, to talk about those refereeing decisions, but just taking a more...
Yeah, he's an experienced man, and he's trying to keep a lid on his emotions, because he knows that ultimately it's a fruitless exercise, because he'll get into bother. But he's clearly very unhappy with how the game was refereed. He'll have the weekend to think about it, but his first call on Monday will be to Willie Collum.
Yeah, I can understand what he's trying to do there. Just say that he can control only what St Mirren do, but I think you can tell he's frustrated. I think anybody that looks at that would be the same if it was their team, frustrated at the red card.
Be a frustration anyway, though, because there's still a chance there. I mean, St Mirren got a penalty. Motherwell went down to 10 men, missed the penalty.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see what comes out in the wash on that one. Of course, Andy Halliday should be with us on Monday night, so we can get his thoughts, having been involved. Let's hear from Stuart Kettlewell on the same game.
Stuart, will that feel like a big 3 points?
Yeah, it does. I think when you pour so much into the game, and we go back to it, we know that there's not a great deal between the two sides. We understand that over a period of time. But I'm immensely proud of the character and the personality and the battling qualities. I knew we would need that today. They make you defend your box. They make you stand strong. They make you put your body in the line. And I'm just really happy with the players, the performance, but the application especially. I spoke about it pre-match that I was really disappointed when I come back to for last season, that I thought we completely outplayed St Mirren here, and we lost the game 1-0. And we speak to the players every day about trying to change that feeling. So I'm not saying that you always cast that memory back, but I think when you're so dominant and you lose a game, it's about trying to find a formula and a solution to make sure you come out with 3 points, and I'm delighted we've done that today.
Good for Lennon to get his first league goals as well.
Yeah, I'm disappointed he didn't get his hat-trick. He said that to him when he was when the referee blew the final whistle eventually. I thought he had a great chance. Obviously he makes a brilliant timed run into the box at 2-1 to get his hat-trick. But all kidding aside, the level of composure we spoke about last week, it just comes again.
Yeah, impressive performance from Lennon Miller. A good win for Motherwell as we bid farewell. Celtic very much on top, but no goals yet, Hugh.
No, we bid farewell with Aberdeen as things stand top of the table. A nostalgic moment for them, approaching the 40th anniversary of the last time they won the league. Celtic absolutely all over St Johnstone. I don't think that Kasper Schmeichel has even touched the ball yet.
Yeah, pretty much so. You know, all leading to the St Johnstone goal. It's just going to be a game of patience for Celtic before they unlock this defence.
Yeah, I agree with Mark. I think it will be patience, but I don't think it'll be long before Celtic open that door at the back of St Johnstone. They're just knocking the ball about, finding good areas, playing nice balls. St Johnstone not really caused a threat yet.
Well, 10 minutes gone, it is still goalless. So whatever happens tonight and whatever happens at Ibrox tomorrow, we add that to the mix of a very dramatic Saturday in the Scottish Premiership, and we look back on it all on Monday night 6pm. Roger Hannah and Andy Halliday, make sure you are here, and in the meantime, enjoy your Saturday in the company of the GBX.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast
with Lucas Volvo. Looking to sell your Volvo? Contact them today for a no obligation quotation.
At Barclays, we're here for every goal. We're here for the Premier League and the Barclays Women's Super League. We're here for the football chants and for giving more girls a chance. We're here for the grassroots and all the muddy boots. From schools to stadiums, we're here for it all. Barclays, here for every goal.